born as the young master of the most powerful underworld family. As a child, he witnessed his childhood sweetheart being abused by her father. The little girl confided in him, saying that when she grew up, she would never marry someone like her father, and promised that when she grew up, she would marry someone as kind as him. So for these 10 years, he gave up everything, always insisting on being a kind and obedient child. Even when his classmates were robbed clean by small-time gangsters, he suppressed his anger and paid protection money for his classmates. But on this day, while taking out the trash with his childhood sweetheart, on their way back to the classroom, they encountered that group of thugs again. At this moment, he looked at Shuzhen's troubled expression, wondering if she had been bullied. The next moment, Zhang Zhixiang glared at those gangsters, ready to fight at any moment. However, the thugs completely ignored him and directly taunted him to get lost. Seeing they had strength in numbers, Zhang Zhixiang held his anger and silently left. But halfway through, he decided to hide in the shadows and observe. If things got worse, he would call his uncles to come. At this time, Shuzhen nervously looked left and right. Suddenly she shyly said to one of the thugs, "Oh my, don't be so obvious at school." And at this moment, Shen Jingzhi placed a mischievous smile on Shuzhen's shoulder, making her face turn red. Then Shuzhen pushed him away with both hands, but they were actually teasing and playing with each other. Zhang Zhixiang, hiding in the shadows, trembled. At this moment, his love for Shuzhen seemed to completely collapse. The childhood sweetheart he had loved for 10 years now liked such a thug, and they seemed so sweet together. After returning to the classroom, he remained unsettled, looking again at the chatting Shuzhen, still unable to accept all this. So he shakily sent a text message to Shuzhen. He wanted to clarify that what he saw earlier wasn't what he thought, right? Before he could finish asking, the dismissal bell suddenly rang, as he was about to leave in disappointment. Suddenly Shuzhen approached him and said, "Zhixiang, we haven't walked home together in a long time." Seeing Zhixiang remaining silent, she asked if something was wrong. At this moment, Zhixiang suddenly stopped in his tracks. With a very depressed mood, he asked Shuzhen, "Are you with Shen Jingzhi now?" She was startled, innocently answering Zhang Zhixiang, "I was going to tell you, but in the end, I don't know how it turned out this way." Instantly Zhang Zhixiang's eyes widened. "What, Shuzhen, didn't you like gentle and kind people?" Then Shuzhen made an elegant turn and said, "After dating someone gentle and kind, I found it's actually not that great. Rough bad boys are more charming, Zhixiang. Don't you think bad boys are cooler?" Hearing this made his face instantly turn pale, grabbing Shuzhen's hand insisting, "You said you like gentle and kind people, but now you like bad boys. Why, Shuzhen? Actually, I'm a bad boy too, I'm worse than anyone." Hearing this, Shuzhen was confused. "Zhixiang, where are you bad? You're so kind." Zhang Zhixiang patted his chest and quickly said, No, I'm very bad, I was acting before, I've thug blood in my bones. Actually, my glasses don't even have prescription lenses. Do you want to see photos from my first birthday party? All the guests were bad people. I'm really a bad boy too." Shuzhen covered her little mouth and chuckled. Then the two reconciled. "Zhixiang, you're worried about me being with a thug and trying to comfort me, so you're putting yourself down, right?" Zhang Zhixiang chuckled, thinking perhaps this was for the best. Then the two walked home together, chatting about their past. Suddenly Shen Jingzhi called out to Shuzhen from behind. Shen Jingzhi said, "Let's go to a karaoke bar." Zhang Zhixiang gritted his teeth. "Shuzhen, you like this kind of guy?" However, at this moment Shen Jingzhi directly confronted him. Hey, you little punk like Shuzhen, I advise you to stay away from her, or next time you won't be so lucky." Seeing the situation turning ugly, Shuzhen pulled Shen Jingzhi away. "We've been good friends since we were little, let's hurry up and go," and whispered to Zhang Zhixiang, "Let's walk together next time." Zhang Zhixiang waved with forced composure. From a distance, the two looked sweet and intimate. "For 10 years I've tried to be a kind person, yet you like bad boys. Woman, just you wait. I can turn bad too. Let you see what a real bad boy's like." Directly pulling open the door with one hand. With a bang, instantly all the underlings bowed and shouted, "Young master!" This calm and composed stride, watch and learn well. On the other side, just as his uncle was discussing business, there was a knock at the door. With a loud bang, the door was pushed open, interrupting his conversation. "Uncle, I need your help. I want to become a bad boy." His uncle immediately hung up the phone. For him, this day had been long awaited. At this moment, Zhang Zhixiang asked him, "Uncle, are you a bad person? What about my father?" The next moment, his uncle instantly gave a wicked smile. "Young master, if we have to distinguish, that should be classified as a bad boy. But for me, your father is a very good boss. Also the most powerful boss in G country. But for society and the outside world, your father should be considered a very bad person. Indeed, I have bad blood flowing in my veins. Uncle, help me, I need to turn bad." "Young master, your eyes look good now. I've never seen young master show such eyes before. Now you look like the boss's son." But uncle has been taking care of him for 10 years, so he knows better than anyone how hard he's been trying. So he asked again, "Young master, becoming good may be difficult, but turning bad is just a matter of an instant. All your previous efforts will become bubbles." But at this moment, Zhang Zhixiang was very determined. "Please, uncle." So after getting an affirmative answer, the uncles first needed to eliminate the aura of kindness that had surrounded him for more than 10 years. From hairstyle to clothing, everything needed to change. But the next second, Zhang Zhixiang quickly forgot his pain and once again showed a very happy expression. So his uncle directly patted him on the shoulder and told him, "From today on, you can't smile so brightly. Yes, like this. Very good, young master." From now on you must always remain deep and mysterious. Then his uncle asked him to go back to his room and wait for a while, opening the door, looking at the public welfare awards on the wall for charity work. At this time, it reminded him again of their affectionate scene, making Zhang Jixiong even more angry. At this time, a minion came to knock on the door. "Young master, may we come in?" After getting an answer, a bald man with a smile said, "Young master, we will make you into a fashionable man. Don't look at me like this now. My nickname used to be Whirlwind Fashion Man." Then a series of rapid transformations. Top Nike, a complete Gucci outfit, flashy gold chains. Tada, the legendary street punk appears. The uncles, seeing their young master finally getting on track, cheered inwardly. Damn, young master, so handsome. The next day, Zhang Jixiong followed what his uncle said. Eyebrows forceful, corners of eyes raised, eyes wide open. From the moment he left the door, he had to walk with confident and imposing strides. Watch and learn well, showing off like only our brother Xiong can, instantly triggering discussions among the crowd. In terms of style, Zhang Jixiong absolutely nailed it. On a bright sunny day, 3 loser girls were also attracted by Zhang Jixiong's wild and unrestrained appearance. At this moment, suddenly a girl gave him an admiring greeting, making him slightly nervous, but remembering his uncle's instructions, he couldn't actively greet others, holding back until his mouth itched. Suddenly, unconsciously, he said, "What are you looking at?" leaving the girl completely bewildered. Then walking into the classroom, classmates all greeted him. However, Zhang Jixiong completely ignored them, directly sitting on his desk and giving them a line. "Yo, haven't you seen a handsome guy before?" instantly leaving the 4 classmates stunned, their mouths wide open. Meanwhile, Xu Zhen's jealous gaze also turned towards Zhang Jixiong. Not to be outdone, she walked up to greet him. "Jixiong, let's go to the shop together." Hearing this, Zhang Jixiong immediately stood up. This was exactly what he was waiting for her to say. Then the two walked out of the classroom. Xu Zhen stopped him. "What's wrong? Did something happen? If something's wrong, you can tell me. Aren't we friends?" Suddenly Zhang Jixiong gave a wicked smile. "Friends? Yes, you asked me if something's wrong. Of course there is. You better go to the shop by yourself." Xu Zhen was stunned, never expecting Jixiong would reject her. "Jixiong, what's wrong with you? You seem like a completely different person." Zhang Jixiong stopped in his tracks, turning coldly. "If I don't seem like myself, that's even better. Besides, you changed first. I was the one who misplaced my feelings. 10 years ago, because of one sentence from you, my life changed. Now my life has changed again because of you." Then, while skipping class, he encountered that group again, secretly observing where they would go, planning to follow them and learn. So he followed for a long way. At this time, he saw a suffocating scene. The girl directly hugged Chen Jingzhe's arm. The two seemed to have a very sweet relationship. Zhang Jixiong immediately clenched his fists. "This guy is just a jerk, Xu Zhen. Is this the type of person you like?" On the other side, the girl kept complaining. "Jingzhe, do we still have far to walk? There doesn't seem to be any restaurant around here." Soon Chen Jingzhe indicated they had arrived. They came to a hotel. Those who know understand. Instantly his face turned into a wicked smile. Zhang Jixiong, hiding in the shadows, was gritting his teeth in anger. But the girl also felt this was very inappropriate. Just as she was about to leave, Shen Jingzhe grabbed her hand, saying it would be quick. The girl yanked her hand away, telling Shen Jingzhe to handle it himself. Suddenly Shen Jingzhe's expression changed drastically. "You dead girl, you want to make me angry?" At this time the girl was also very angry. "Watch your mouth." Slowly approaching, Shen Jingzhe thought she had changed her mind. Unexpectedly, she went up and gave him a slap. Suddenly Shen Jingzhe gave a wicked smile. The more a girl struggled, the more excited he became. Just as Shen Jingzhe's palm was about to hit the girl, suddenly a stone flew from a distance. However, it hit the girl's forehead hard. Ouch! Shot a bit off. So he picked up another stone, thinking, "Oh no, didn't mean to hit Li Yiji." But he didn't hesitate further. Raising his hand, he threw the stone and a ring together. With a bang, it directly hit Shen Jingzhe's forehead, directly making a hole in his forehead. Meanwhile, the ring fell to the ground. Zhang Jixiong didn't notice he had lost something, instantly leaping from his spot, grabbing Li Yiji. "Damn, our brother Xiong did it again." Li Yiji, covering her wound, asked, "Who are you? Let me go. Did you throw that stone? I'm bleeding because of you." Breathlessly telling her, "Follow me and run first." Instantly bewildering Li Yiji, "What's with this guy?" Then the two ran to a park. Zhang Jixiong handed her a heart-shaped bandage, indicating she should stop the bleeding first. After the band-aid, Li Yiji was very curious, shyly asking, "How come I've never seen you before?" Leaving him puzzled. "I'm Zhang Jixiong from your class." Suddenly Li Yiji was stunned. "You say you're that annoying Zhang Jixiong? This is completely like a different person." At this moment Zhang Jixiong suddenly asked her, "Do you also like bad boys?" However, for Li Yiji, rather than saying she liked bad boys, it's more that she was attracted by that kind of free and unrestrained charm. But she didn't expect Shen Jingzhe would be that kind of person. And at this time Zhang Jixiong began to ponder how he could be worse. Suddenly Li Yiji's phone buzzed, trembling as she saw Shen Jingzhe's incoming call. But to avoid getting involved in other matters, she also answered his call to hear what he wanted to say. On the other end, Shen Jingzhe directly started cursing. "Damn, who was that guy just now? I saw he was wearing our school uniform. Don't try to fool me," leaving Li Yiji's ears ringing. directly grabbing the phone and shouting back, "Damn it, who are you yelling at? Do you want to get beaten to death?" Then with a click, she angrily hung up the phone. Who does he think he is? Jiang Zixiong was completely bewildered and gave her a thumbs up. The next moment, smiling at Jiang Zixiong, she asked if he could keep today's matter a secret. After saying this, the two planned to return to school separately. Then Jiang Zixiong went alone to the cafeteria to eat, so his two good buddies gave him strange looks, telling him his skipping class was discovered, and the homeroom teacher was looking for him. At this time, the watermelon boy suddenly asked, "Zixiong, why do you look like Shen Jingjie now?" With a bang, Jiang Zixiong slapped the table and immediately stood up. "Haha, do I really look that bad? That guy is my goal," leaving his two buddies instantly entering early dementia. As a meatball fell in that moment, the two reacted as if their home had been robbed, screaming. Suddenly, with another bang, Li Yiji openly moved a chair and directly sat with them to eat, making the two buddies force a smile, putting on a happy face. Jiang Zixiong, afraid his two buddies would misunderstand, quickly stood up waving to explain, but it seemed to make things worse, so he hurriedly left. Li Yiji quickly followed. Meanwhile, the two buddies laughed, again forcing a smile. However, the next second they could only hold back tears and watch them leave. For them, the world was cruel. After all, they were born single. As the two were leaving, Xu Zhen also noticed them, making her very jealous. Even her food didn't taste good anymore. While on the other side, Jiang Zixiong was using all his strength, undoing the gold chain worn on his body, thinking about how to explain to the teacher. After all, this was his first time skipping class. Just as he was adjusting his shirt buttons, suddenly he discovered the ring on his middle finger had vanished. Instinctively, he reached into his pocket, but applied too much force and pinched his own dick, instantly making him sweat profusely. He thought, this is bad. At that time, this ring was personally put on him by his uncle. Back then, his bald uncle told him, this ring was given to him by the boss when he came of age. So, he was very happy. Being able to give the meaningful ring from the boss to the boss's son made him very happy. But, when I die, you must return it to me. I want to take it to my grave. At this moment, Jiang Zixiong clutched his hair in panic. The words his bald uncle had said kept appearing in his mind. Then he ran to the classroom to search everywhere. But meanwhile, the school bully was already behind him. The bully who had been hit by the stone was looking for somewhere to vent his anger, directly giving him a kick. Good dogs don't block the way, flamboyantly flipping his hair. Seeing Jiang Zixiong's back looked very much like the person who threw the stone at him, so he went up and gave him several flying kicks. However, coincidentally, Xu Zhen was in the classroom but didn't stop Shen Jingjie. Shen Jingjie kept kicking Jiang Zixiong until he couldn't get up. Shen Jingjie still stroked his chin, very dissatisfied. Fortunately, Li Yiji called out to him in time. Shen Jingjie suddenly walked up to her, instantly showing a wicked smile, mercilessly grabbing her clothes. You think I won't hit you because you're a woman? At this time, Li Yiji looked at Jiang Zixiong again, thinking he was beaten for helping her. So she deliberately told Shen Jingjie, it was Song Zhangxi who pulled me away that day. Hearing Song Zhangxi's name made him shudder, but Song Zhangxi just wanted to sleep peacefully, never expecting to be caught in the crossfire. Then Shen Jingjie directly walked up to him, hey, wake up, but he completely ignored him, making him grit his teeth. With a bang, he directly kicked Song Zhangxi's desk while he was sleeping, scaring the classmates so their mouths were wide open. Li Yiji thought Song Zhangxi could intimidate him, didn't expect things to escalate. Then Song Zhangxi stood up coldly. Are you crazy? At this time, Shen Jingjie loudly asked him, was it you who helped Li Yiji? Song Zhangxi's gaze also turned towards Jiang Zixiong again. Seeing him trembling, he understood what happened. So picking his ear carelessly, he said, seems like I helped. What do you want to do about it? However, Shen Jingjie directly grabbed his collar. Stop joking with me, you're clearly lying. Do you think I'm an idiot? What if you're lying? However, Song Zhangxi's grip strength was unimaginable, causing him to shake all over. What if I'm not lying? What then? Shen Jingjie was in so much pain he directly let go of his hand. Bone-cracking pain, but still not forgetting to talk tough. Surname Song, we'll see about this. Then as he was about to leave, he saw Jiang Zixiong on the ground, grabbing his hair. Looking carefully, that guy was about this size. Meanwhile, Jiang Zixiong saw the gold ring on Shen Jingjie's hand, wondering how it ended up on his hand. But Shen Jingjie thought it couldn't possibly be such a coward who did it. With a bang, he directly left. Jiang Zixiong also gritted his teeth, silently vowing, no matter what, he must get the ring back. Walking with heavy steps, he left school. After returning home, a row of uncles greeted him at the door. But seeing the young master's injured face and footprints, directly making their expressions change. Scarface uncle shouted, this is challenging our Fire Bear gang. Get your weapons ready to fight. Bald uncle had just come downstairs when he heard the commotion. At this time, Scarface uncle told him, report to big brother, young master was beaten up outside. The gold on bald uncle's head exploded. Damn it, which bastard did this? Young master, you lead the way. Exactly which guy did this? At this time, their boss stopped them, coldly saying, young master is the future pillar of our gang. Young master is just starting to fight, we shouldn't intervene. Everyone instantly understood. We weren't thinking clearly, boss, please forgive us. They prepared to give their young master a bone-breaking devil's training. But before that, to ensure their young master wouldn't be bullied by school bullies again, they directly convened an underworld meeting. But at this time, Zhang Jixiong was also shocked, never expecting that after being beaten, his uncles would care so much about him. So after everyone's discussion, Uncle Shu very seriously told Zhang Jixiong, "Young master, the most important thing for you now is to develop the habit of winning. So young master, first go find someone weaker than you and beat them up." Seeing their young master very hesitant, the uncles all encouraged him. "Young master, the stronger you become, the more people weaker than you, we all came up this way." The next day, preparing to go to school. After last night's brainwashing, Zhang Jixiong looked much more spirited. Suddenly at this time, bald uncle called out to him, making him freeze. Thinking, did uncle discover the ring was missing? At this time, bald uncle just told him to tuck his shirt into his pants. After Zhang Jixiong tucked his shirt into his pants, he nodded with great satisfaction. Seeing the young master becoming more and more on track made him very gratified. Meanwhile, on Zhang Jixiong's way to school, he increasingly let himself go, becoming someone who spat anywhere. But it seemed he never succeeded once. However, as he was feeling pleased with these attempts, suddenly Xu Zhen also passed by him. He wanted to go up and say hello, but realized the joke was on him. Xu Zhen just wanted to go to school sweetly with Shen Jingzhe, and Xu Zhen looked so happy. This made Zhang Jixiong more determined to be a bad boy. And at this time he happened to see in the alley Li Yizhi and others collecting protection money. Meanwhile, Li Yizhi saw Zhang Jixiong and her face lit up. She directly turned around to touch up her makeup. That's right. Actually, Li Yizhi's heart had already been captured by Zhang Jixiong. However, this classmate thought Zhang Jixiong was coming to save him and was very moved. But Zhang Jixiong asked him to hand over all the money he had. "If I find anything when I search you, you're dead." With these words, the three flower girls froze. Hee, quite obedient. Meanwhile, bald uncle, worried young master wouldn't do well, had followed all the way. Seeing him collect protection money in a professional manner, he directly covered his mouth, feeling very gratified, thinking how stupid he was to worry about young master. Silently praying to the boss, "You don't need to worry, young master is growing up very well." On the other side, the black-haired girl coldly snorted, "I thought you were a coward. Didn't expect you to be quite manly." At this time, the short-haired girl also chimed in, "That's right, continue. You're very cool." At this time, Zhang Jixiong finally felt the charm of being a bad boy, thinking everyone really does like bad boys. Then they really handed over the money. This fool thought Zhang Jixiong was first pretending to rob him to help him escape, and then would return the money to them. While Zhang Jixiong was even more stunned, just saying a few words, and got 40,000 yuan. Suddenly the short-haired girl placed her hand on his shoulder. "Yo, your way of asking for money is almost as good as Shen Jingzhe." These words went straight to his heart. Just look at how happy he was. Meanwhile, the short-haired girl proposed, "We have a total of 40,000, let's split it evenly, 10,000 each. I don't need money." So he distributed all the money to them. And at this time, the three flower girls simultaneously invited him to eat together. This sudden invitation caught him off guard. Indeed, bad boys are more popular. However, bald uncle hiding behind the wall kept watching all this. Again moved by it, not only naturally robbing money, but also fairly dividing it into 4 shares. Silently shedding tears as if seeing himself as a child, walking and thinking that giving his soul ring to young master was absolutely right. He, moved to a mess, suddenly bumped into Shen Jingzhe. Shen Jingzhe gave him some lip. "Hey bald guy, don't you know how to watch where you're going?" Suddenly bald uncle also saw the soul ring worn on his hand, wearing the same school uniform as young master, thinking, did young master lend it to him? Is he young master's friend? Instantly making his mind chaotic. And at this time Shen Jingzhe was even more on the edge of death. "Hey bald guy, why are you staring with such big eyes?" Bald uncle suppressed his anger, really wanting to hammer him to death with one strike. Looking at the departing Shen Jingzhe, "You better not be young master's friend so I can deal with you." On the other side, Zhang Jixiong just met the homeroom teacher in the corridor, directly called for tea. The homeroom teacher pushed his 800-degree glasses, telling Zhang Jixiong to have his father come to school tomorrow. Hearing this instantly reminded him of his father's terrifying appearance, hurriedly stopping him. "My father is very far away, can I call my uncle instead?" The homeroom teacher glanced at him, still agreed to let Zhang Jixiong call his uncle. After returning home, Zhang Jixiong told his uncles, "The school teacher said to call you to come." The next second all 3 of them beamed with joy. The standard configuration of a problem child calling parents. Meanwhile, only one person could go to school. The 3 uncles began to argue. They had been waiting for this day for a full 10 years. For fairness, the 3 decided to use rock, paper, scissors to decide. Rock, paper, scissors. That's right, bald uncle won. The 2 could only silently wait for the next opportunity. The next morning, the groggy Zhang Jixiong, early in the morning, saw an eye-popping sight. This was simply the ancestor of street loafer. Arm tattoos, skinny jeans, standard big belly. It seemed his bald head could even reflect light. Walking casually on the street, gangsters seeing him would bow, calling him big brother. At this moment Zhang Jixiong was stunned. Heh, indeed my bald uncle is still the most powerful. Suddenly bald uncle very seriously asked Zhang Jixiong, "Young master, have you been doing bad things lately?" Making him instantly nervous, then indicated he had practiced spitting, but wasn't very good at it. The next moment, my man bald uncle directly gave an on-site lesson. "Young master, come. Like this, open your mouth in a horizontal shape." Then with this feeling, push your tongue outward. Like this. Phut through the gap in your teeth. But left Zhang Zhixiang in awe. So he immediately imitated. Phut phut twice. Saliva spraying everywhere. Reality told him, spitting is also a kind of knowledge. Bald uncle scratched his head, looking a bit embarrassed. So patting his shoulder to comfort him, young master, continue practicing until you reach school. Then Zhang Zhixiang went all the way phut to the end, relying on his social bald uncle. Meanwhile, bald uncle also taught him the imposing manner of walking. Take a deep breath, chest out, breathe in again, belly in, straight waist, arms swinging, walk with bow legs. Sloppy and casual, a real man should walk like this. Yes, young master, just like that. Then the two walked imposingly all the way to school. Classmates were all scared sweaty by this aura. Indeed, my social bald uncle can walk sideways anywhere, walking to the school gate then suddenly stopping. At this time asking Zhang Zhixiang, "Young master, have you taken good care of the soul ring I gave you?" Nervously answering bald uncle, "I've kept it well in my room." Suddenly bald uncle understood everything. Indeed, it was stolen. In the blink of an eye, walking into the classroom corridor, classmates all cast admiring gazes. Meanwhile, Li Yiji was also very surprised. Then, bald uncle let Zhang Zhixiang go to the classroom first. He would go meet his homeroom teacher. On the other side, in the peaceful administration office, suddenly came a knock. With a bang, "I'm Zhixiang's uncle. Which one is Zhixiang's homeroom teacher?" Directly scaring the homeroom teacher into a grandson. At this time, a female teacher next to him asked if he wanted to call the police. Then the homeroom teacher began to show off in front of the female teacher. "Don't worry. I've been the educational director for 10 years. I understand this kind of person." Standing up at this moment, he really did impress, even leaving bald uncle confused. With cold sweat, he led bald uncle to discuss. At this moment he seemed to be racing death, but he still forced a smile and said Zhixiang was going to be the student council president next year, but recently has been turning bad. With these words, bald uncle was extremely gratified. "You mean our Zhixiang is a problem child?" Making the director's wig leave him. While adjusting his wig, he explained, "No, that's not what I meant. Zhixiang is of course an excellent model student." Suddenly another bang. The next second his face changed. "You're saying Zhixiang is not a problem child?" At this moment he was so flustered he blurted out, "Zhixiang is a problem child, a very serious problem child." Getting a satisfactory answer made him very gratified. Meanwhile, bald uncle asked him if there were students at school extorting money. The homeroom teacher abruptly sat up. "What extortion of money? How could that be possible?" Patting his chest to indicate as long as he remained in office for one day, the school would absolutely not have violence and extortion. Hearing this, bald uncle's face darkened. The moment he stood up, the homeroom teacher thought he was going to be beaten badly. However, bald uncle didn't give him a second glance, directly turning to leave, thinking, whether when we were in school or when teachers were around, it's all the same. At this time, bald uncle was very angry, planning to take back the ring from Shen Jingzhe's hand and beat him up, strutting around looking everywhere. Coincidentally, bald uncle saw a very familiar back figure. "Hey kid, we meet again, this time you're dead." But unexpectedly, when the person turned around, it was a four-eyed nerd. Damn, making our social bald uncle a bit embarrassed. Although he was an underworld person, our bald uncle was still very polite and said sorry. Although bald uncle now just wanted to find that guy and kill him. But remembering the boss's instruction that young master is the future pillar of our gang, just starting to fight, we shouldn't intervene, instantly making him rack his brains, thinking he should listen to the boss first, walking and pondering that he shouldn't ruin young master's future with his rashness. Meanwhile, Shen Jingzhe outside the campus was living it up with his cronies, proudly looking at the shining soul ring, thinking of selling it to buy himself a car. The shrewd red-haired man immediately estimated a price of 2 million. Shen Jingzhe himself hadn't expected that being hit by a stone would bring him 2 million. While on the other side, the homeroom teacher began to be a bit afraid of Zhang Zhixiang, avoiding his eyes. Even when raising a hand to answer questions in class, it was as if he saw the suffocating shadow of bald uncle on Zhang Zhixiang. The homeroom teacher thought he wanted to leave, immediately smiled and indicated, "You can go out." So Zhang Zhixiang wanted to ask bald uncle about what happened, immediately calling bald uncle. However, the uncles were preparing a banquet for him, being considered a problem child by the teacher. At this time, the phone on the table suddenly rang. Scarface uncle was the first to see young master's call, immediately handing the phone to bald uncle. Bald uncle was happy the first time he received young master's call, but hearing young master was asking about the teacher's matter, so he told him not to worry, indicating he had handled everything. But hearing the word handled, Zhang Zhixiang instantly froze. Meanwhile, learning it was young master's call, Uncle Shu hurriedly urged bald uncle to let him talk to young master. The next second Uncle Shu instantly turned black-faced. "Quick, I'll take it, hear me?" Uncle Shu ignored him, snatching his phone. "Young master, you haven't forgotten what I told you? You need to beat up someone weaker than you." So Zhang Zhixiang nervously asked, "Do I have to beat someone today?" But Uncle Shu's answer was to act immediately. Uncle Shu reminded Zhang Zhixiang again, "Make sure to find someone weaker than yourself to beat up." Then directly hung up the phone, handing it back to bald uncle. Bald uncle felt very wronged having been hung up on before he could finish speaking, thinking it was only because you're the big brother. Meanwhile, Zhang Zhixiang was no longer wasting time, so he began to search for someone weaker than himself in the hallway. But the two people before him seemed stronger than him too. He just watched helplessly as they left. He ran to the bathroom and washed his face, just as he was at a loss. A level 70 boss suddenly appeared behind him, rolling up his sleeves. This was like an egg hitting a stone, and he was stunned with fear. Looking at the tiger-like, bear-like physique, he thought, what use is being the Fire Bear gang leader's son? Just as he was smiling bitterly, a classmate behind him poked him. Zhixong, you took 40,000 yuan last time, now you can return it to me. Just as he was worrying about not finding someone weaker than himself, Zhang Zhixong grabbed his collar without hesitation. With eyes suddenly widened, you'll be the sacrifice for my first victory. But after beating him up, he found he wasn't so happy. Instead, his heart kept pounding wildly. Afterward, he adjusted his mindset again, thinking he would gradually become bad. Before, he had tried hard to be kind for Xu Zhen to like him, but now, Xu Zhen had changed her mind. When he returned home, Zhang Zhixong found the house very quiet. As he walked further in, he saw his uncles being punished, heads to the ground, none daring to move. A man resembling a gang boss checked the time on his pocket watch. The next moment, with a sinister smile, son, it seems you've really changed. Your clothing style seems to have changed too. Come, sit by me. Zhang Zhixong was suddenly shocked. Father Zhang chuckled. Why so surprised, son? Seems like you don't welcome your father. Zhang Zhixong stuttered. Father, why are you here? Father Zhang was a man of few words but deadly actions. With just a glance, he scared Zhang Zhixong into a cold sweat. Instantly, he shot up and sat on the sofa in a flash. Suddenly, Father Zhang stood up, saying he wanted to reward his son. But seeing the wounds on Zhang Zhixong's face, his expression darkened. What happened to your face? You haven't been beaten up, have you? This made him panic, unable to look directly at his father. Damn it, you're the Fire Bear gang leader's son, yet you're getting beaten up every day. It's embarrassing. Then Father Zhang scolded Uncle Xu directly, and ordered him to immediately start air training for Zhang Zhixong. However, Zhang Zhixong refused the air training. This made Father Zhang turn pale with anger. Hearing this, Father Zhang spoke bluntly, disregarding father-son sentiment. What else have you done these 10 years besides getting beaten up? Do you think I would put all my hopes in just you? It doesn't matter whether you're here or not. If you don't accept it today, I'll abandon you. When you refuse me, I already made other preparations. Your brothers are scattered throughout the country, and they are all growing. Son, the heir doesn't have to be you. I just hoped it would be you. 10 years ago, you said you wanted to be a kind person for a girl, so you refused to accept air training. But I've waited for you for 10 years. You don't think you can live this luxurious life without me, do you? After hearing this, Zhang Zhixong was stunned. Young people are too naive. So he immediately told Father Zhang about the air training, asking for some time to consider. Father Zhang stopped in his tracks. He told him to have Uncle Xu notify him when he had made up his mind. With a thud, he fell heavily to his knees. It was unimaginable to him. Though his own father, he was too ruthless. After Father Zhang left, Uncle Xu immediately helped the young master up. Then Zhang Zhixong walked with heavy steps back to his room and took a shower. Meanwhile, the three uncles began to discuss the next steps. At this time, Scarface uncle asked Big Brother, will the young master agree to accept the air training? This question made Uncle Xu fall into deep thought, feeling they should talk to the young master first. Then he went to Zhang Zhixong's room. Seeing the young master's helpless expression, Uncle Xu said that if the young master also accepted air training, the uncles could become his strength. As he was about to leave, he told him, if you want to protect something, you need to have the power to protect it. Suddenly, he thought of Shen Jingjie again. He thought if he accepted the air training, with the uncle's help, things would be different. Thinking about these things made him feel even more pathetic. After thinking for a moment, he didn't dwell on it anymore. He immediately got up and walked out of the room. He told the uncles he had decided to accept the air training. I want to become stronger, then defeat all the bad guys. Uncles, this way I'll be the worst person, right? So uncles, please help me. At this moment, the uncles had been waiting for 10 years. Young master, leave it to us, we've been ready for 10 years. Early the next morning, their young master was in a hurry, urging them to quickly train him. Seeing the young master finally accept the air training, Scarface uncle and Bald uncle were very pleased. Meanwhile, Uncle Xu understood that Bald uncle was the most professional in this area, so he handed the young master's special training to him, which made Bald uncle cry with excitement, pounding his chest. Young master, just follow me to learn, I'll make you strong. Okay uncle. Just as they were about to go train, Bald uncle suddenly stopped. Young master, do you really want to accept the air training? At this time, Zhang Zhixong answered very firmly. Uncle, I've made up my mind. After getting an affirmative answer, Bald uncle asked him another question. Young master, did you really keep the soul ring I gave you safe? This question suddenly startled Zhang Zhixong, and he knew the truth couldn't be hidden. So he dejectedly answered Bald uncle that he had lost it, and it had been picked up by the guy he wanted to beat up. Actually, Bald uncle was waiting for this confession from Zhang Zhixong. Walking to him, he told him he knew who had the ring. He said that if the young master allowed, he could go and beat him up right now. But Zhang Zhixong told Bald uncle not to interfere. He said he wanted to deal with that Shen Jingjie guy himself. Suddenly Bald uncle hugged him. Young master, I was actually hoping you would say that. Then Bald uncle, to make it convenient for Zhang Zhixong to take action at any time, had him change into battle uniform. Back in his room, Zhang Zhixiang got dressed and fixed his hair, slicking back his hair that hadn't been washed for 82 years. From now on, he was no longer an ordinary student, but a worthy heir to the Firebear gang. At the physical training room, Bald Uncle had him start testing with the 3 basics. At this time, Bald Uncle was very curious about the young master's physical strength level. Then Bald Uncle first had him do squats with weights. The next moment, it was so heavy that Zhang Zhixiang almost exploded. Just one attempt left him gasping for breath. This made Bald Uncle feel a bit embarrassed, thinking the young master could only squat 20 kilograms. Next was bench pressing while lying flat. But this posture seemed to challenge Zhang Zhixiang. But the next moment, Zhang Zhixiang shakily asked Bald Uncle to help him. So Bald Uncle lifted him up. Damn. The young master's squat plus bench press is only 40 kilograms. Nearby, Zhixiang felt like his body had become more solid. Thinking the young master was too weak, Bald Uncle didn't know how to train Zhixiang. Then Bald Uncle had Zhixiang try a deadlift. At this moment, Bald Uncle had no expectations for him. But unexpectedly, Zhixiang stood up easily. This suddenly filled him with hope. Damn, what's going on? He quickly added more weight for Zhixiang. Zhixiang still lifted it easily. With a clang, it brought back memories. Squats and bench press together were only 40 kilograms. But his deadlift was 100 kilograms. Could it be that the young master gained this ability from helping old people lift heavy things? Then Bald Uncle said, the final test would be grip strength, competing with Zhixiang in arm wrestling. Suddenly, the uncles all gathered around to watch. With a starting signal, Bald Uncle solemnly told Zhixiang to use all his strength. With a whoosh, damn, the young master's grip strength. The other uncles thought he was going easy, but the next moment, Bald Uncle's head turned red like a walnut. Suddenly a flash of realization. Could it be that the young master's monstrous grip strength came from massaging them for 10 years? The young master's monster-like grip strength was actually trained through massage. Bald Uncle finally knew how to train Zhixiang, but he said he couldn't lose to Zhixiang, as treating a match casually was disrespectful to the opponent. So he took a deep breath, using all his strength. Young master, I'm going all out. The other uncles watched in shock. But at this moment, Bald Uncle kept shouting in his heart, young master, I'm so proud of you. With a slap, that's right, Bald Uncle lost to Zhixiang, looking at his trembling hand. The uncles slapped their foreheads. My goodness, the young master actually defeated our gang's arm wrestling champion, Uncle Zhixiang. When Zhixiang pulled him up, Bald Uncle saw the shadow of the Firebear gang boss in Zhixiang. If nothing else, Bald Uncle's imagination was quite impressive. Then the two men walked with manly strides to begin the next training. Meanwhile, Song Zhongxi, looking at Zhang Zhixiang's empty seat, asked Zhang Zhixiang's 2 best friends why he wasn't at school. So the 2 friends told him that there were many scary uncles at Zhang Zhixiang's door. After school, he kept wondering if something had happened to Zhang Zhixiang. Actually, Song Zhongxi was concerned about Zhang Zhixiang because of his sister. Zhang Zhixiang had helped his sister before. So that night, he went alone to Zhang Zhixiang's door. However, Spiky Uncle saw him sneaking around and thought he was sent by another gang. So he told him he was Zhang Zhixiang's classmate. The uncles immediately changed their attitude. Oh, why didn't you say so earlier? Please come in. But the next moment, he was stopped by Uncle Shu, who scolded them to use their brains. Fortunately, he really was the young master's classmate. What if he had lied? What if he was sent by another gang? At this time, Song Zhongxi was lucky to have brought his student ID. He thought about how scary it would have been if he hadn't brought it. Suddenly, Uncle Shu noticed Song Zhongxi's bag with judo written on it. So he immediately ordered his subordinate to call Bald Uncle down. Song Zhongxi was very surprised when he saw Bald Uncle. He immediately bowed. Hello, senior. After learning the reason, he took him to see Zhang Zhixiang. When he saw Zhang Zhixiang, he was stunned. He even used techniques, thinking Zhixiang had released his left hand, which wouldn't work. Of course, he didn't expect Zhixiang to lift someone up with just the strength of his right hand. Song Zhongxi was shocked. With a thud, Zhixiang's killer move, one-handed slam. At this moment, he was amazed at Zhang Zhixiang's grip strength. Then Bald Uncle asked him to try. Then Song Zhongxi and Zhang Zhixiang began to fight. Song Zhongxi moved quickly, grabbing Zhixiang's collar. Zhixiang thought he would attack with his legs next, but Song Zhongxi gave him a double-handed slam. Scarface Uncle was alarmed, but fortunately Bald Uncle called him off. Zhang Zhixiang got up again, looking very angry. The next moment, Song Zhongxi's hand moved at the fastest speed towards Zhixiang, but it still missed. Zhixiang stepped back twice. Inhale, exhale, immediately assuming a fighting stance. Gritting his teeth, his right hand gathering strength for a strike. With a slap, he hit Song Zhongxi directly. At this moment, Song Zhongxi realized that Zhixiang's fist was like a mountain. The next moment, Zhixiang counterattacked again, grabbing Song Zhongxi's leg, slowly applying his grip strength with both hands, with Zhixiang giving a fierce look. Killer move, Butcher's Hand Apple Crusher. This terrifying grip strength made Song Zhongxi feel hellish pain. Bald Uncle watched with approval, while Scarface Uncle was sweating profusely. Is this still our young master? Then Song Zhongxi raised his fist again, but it was still avoided by Zhixiang. Zhixiang adjusted his state again, his left hand slowly gathering strength. suddenly throwing a punch, but Song Jiangxi blocked it. The next moment, Jixong's right hand struck, hitting him hard on the neck. It left Song Jiangxi exhausted. "Zhang Jixong, you're too despicable. Hitting my neck." Song Jiangxi had never expected that his former classmate would now be as strong as himself. Even more incredible was that it had only been 3 days. Looking at Zhang Jixong lying on the ground, he asked in confusion why someone so powerful would fear people like Shen Jingjie. Thankfully, Bald Uncle told him, because the young master had never fought before. He was afraid before taking action, always wanting to escape, wanting to change. The young master needs opponents like you. Then Bald Uncle let Song Jiangxi go treat his injury first. Scarface Uncle looked at him with disdain. However, at this time, Zhang Jixong suddenly burst into laughter. This surprised Bald Uncle, who asked Zhang Jixong why he was laughing, but Zhang Jixong only said he felt pain in his heart, leaving Bald Uncle confused. After the training ended, Bald Uncle prepared dinner for them, saying that after exercise they should replenish protein. At this time, Bald Uncle directly asked Song Jiangxi if he would be willing to train with the young master for a week, offering food and lodging. But Song Jiangxi told him he had a sister and couldn't stay outside. How about coming to train after school? Song Jiangxi said he had judo club training after school. Then Bald Uncle asked him, as long as we solve the training issue, it's fine, right? After getting confirmation, Bald Uncle immediately called the judo club. "Hello, I want to take Song Jiangxi for training for a week, is that okay?" Song Jiangxi almost choked when he heard this. Then Bald Uncle said, "The judo club issue is solved. Don't worry, just come over confidently." Patting his shoulder, "After the young master's training is over, I'll give you individual training." The next day, Li Yiji hadn't contacted Zhang Jixong for several days, making her very anxious. Her 2 best friends thought she was seriously ill. The black-haired girl suggested, "Why don't you go to his home? If you're embarrassed to go alone, go with Zhang Jixong's friends." Suddenly Li Yiji beamed, "This way I can naturally go find him." "Wait, I didn't say it was Zhang Jixong. How did you know? Isn't it obvious? Everyone knows except Zhang Jixong. Anyway, just go find him. Don't bother us here." After saying goodbye to her friends, Li Yiji set off on her love-seeking journey. Meanwhile, Shen Jingjie and his friend were planning to sell the soul ring. Entering the store, he found no one to serve him. "Dead Baldy, customers are here. Why aren't you serving us?" At this time, Bald Uncle coughed twice. However, suddenly a group of footsteps came from outside, hurriedly pulling down the rolling shutter. With a bang, Shen Jingjie panicked, hurriedly asking his friend how to pull down the shutter. However, Bald Uncle, playing with his weapon, told him to hide well. "If you're caught, I'll kill you." Shen Jingjie's jaw dropped. "Dead Baldy, who are you?" Trembling, he took out his phone, saying he would call the police. Bald Uncle, holding his glasses. "Kid, you're dead this time. It might hurt a bit, kid." In a moment with 2 thumps, Shen Jingjie's screams filled the entire room. As arrogant as he was before, now he was that miserable. Bald Uncle grabbed his hair and told him, "Keep the ring safe. The ring's owner will come to get it himself. If you dare sell it to someone else or lose it, I'll kill you." At this time, Bald Uncle saw his thick hair, which made him very unhappy. So he shouted, "Bring the electric razor," and shaved all his hair off. Forcefully patting his head, he said he was going out for a while, telling him to clean up the place. Before leaving, Bald Uncle didn't forget to intimidate him. If he dared to play any tricks, he would follow him for life, and shave his head every time his hair grew out. Shen Jingjie gritted his teeth in hatred, but could only silently endure these humiliations. Meanwhile, Song Jiangxi and Li Yiji also came to visit Zhang Jixong. Scarface Uncle, adjusting his tie, sized up Li Yiji, wondering if she was the young master's girlfriend. Then he led the 2, telling them that today was just the young master's last day of training. But this stunned Li Yiji. Zhang Jixong's family is so rich, no wonder he can skip school. At this time, Scarface Uncle suddenly stopped, knocking on the door twice. At this moment, Li Yiji was very eager to see Zhang Jixong quickly, but it was Bald Uncle who came out, asking who was with Jiangxi. Suddenly Li Yiji became nervous, thinking, "Am I meeting the parents already? Uncle, I am Zhang Jixong's friend. My name is Li Yiji." What a wingman. I didn't know the young master had a girlfriend. Li Yiji was startled. No, it's not like that. I'm not his girlfriend yet." Then Bald Uncle asked them to wait a bit. The young master would be out soon. With the sound of footsteps, Zhang Jixong slicking back his hair, exuding the aura of a mature man. "Yiji, you're here." These words immediately made Li Yiji blush, which surprised him. "What, Jixong called me Yiji? Jixong, you become stronger in just a few days." However, Zhang Jixong was also a born single man, not knowing how to be gentle with women. Fortunately, Bald Uncle smoothed things over. He let Li Yiji watch from the side until they finished training. So a young lady watched the 2 men train with interest. She wondered why she was watching this. The key was that the 2 seemed very happy, complimenting each other. Just then, Song Jiangxi lifted Jixong into the air. With a thud, he slammed him heavily on the ground. Li Yiji was startled, thinking Jixong must be in pain. But the next second, they were holding hands. Li Yiji saw they were getting along well, and their relationship seemed very good. She thought she felt like an outsider. The joke was on her. At this time, Jiang Jixiong invited her to stay for dinner, again making Li Yiji blush. Okay Jixiong. Then the three chatted happily in the living room over drinks. At this time, Li Yiji asked Jiang Jixiong why he wasn't at school. However, Jiang Jixiong's answer was that he was in close training. This made Li Yiji anxious. Training? Then, why didn't you reply to my messages? Fortunately, Bald Uncle came to the rescue, telling Li Yiji that phones weren't allowed during closed training. Then he handed the phone to Jiang Jixiong. Jiang Jixiong scrolled through the messages to see what Li Yiji had sent him. At this moment, Li Yiji panicked. She panicked. Hey, are you crazy? Don't look now. Song Zhongxi covered his mouth and chuckled. Li Yiji suddenly stood up. Hey Song Zhongxi, are you laughing at me? Bald Uncle and Scarface Uncle, hiding in the corner, were very pleased. This was the first time their young master had brought friends home. They hadn't seen their young master laugh so happily for a long time. After dinner, Jiang Zixiong saw them to the door. During these days he had also seemed very happy. At this time Bald Uncle told him to rest early. Young master, you still have to go to school tomorrow. The next morning with chirping birds, Jiang Zixiong's aura was much stronger. Even Bald Uncle felt this was how the Fire Bear Gang heir should be. And the moment he came down the stairs, the subordinates all shouted, "Good morning, young master." Just at the door, 4 subordinates were ready to open it. He never did anything himself. After getting in the car, he told his subordinate, "Stop in an alley later, I need to beat someone up first." The sound of black cars rumbling filled the entire city. With a screech, the subordinate told him they had reached the alley. After getting out, Jiang Jixiong was very pleased. He knew very well this alley was often passed by Shen Jingzhe's group. After walking a few steps, he really encountered Shen Jingzhe. Shen Jingzhe shrunk back when he saw him. However, Jiang Jixiong smiled, thinking the opportunity had come. Now looking at Shen Jingzhe, he seemed so weak. At this time Shen Jingzhe asked him, "What are you smiling at? I'm already in a bad mood. What the hell are you smiling at?" The two slowly approached each other, neither liking the other. Jiang Jixiong told him to stretch out his right hand, saying he was looking for something of his. "I told you to stretch out your right hand for me to see, didn't you hear me?" Seeing he didn't speak, Jiang Jixiong placed his hand directly on his collarbone. As his mouth coldly uttered the words "killer move," with a crack, Shen Jingzhe let out another scream. Suddenly he also saw the soul ring on him, just as Jiang Jixiong hesitated. Shen Jingzhe gritted his teeth. "I'm already annoyed enough." With a kick he pushed him away. "Idiot, you're provoking me too?" However, Bald Uncle, who had been observing from the corner, signaled to Shen Jingzhe that if he fought back, he would crack him. This confused Shen Jingzhe. Why is the dead Baldy here? But then he saw the stripe pattern on Jiang Jixiong's uniform. The boy who ran away with Li Yiji also had this pattern. He finally understood everything. The ring's owner was Jiang Jixiong, which meant the one who threw the stone at him was also Jiang Jixiong. He thought all his humiliation was because of Jiang Jixiong. Thinking about this, he suddenly became very angry. "I'm going to finish you," but was blocked by Jiang Jixiong. The next moment, Jiang Jixiong's eyes flashed, tightly gripping his fist. Suddenly another crack. Jiang Jixiong's fighting power was off the charts. Shen Jingzhe had no idea that the current Jiang Jixiong was not the Jiang Jixiong he knew before. Then, quickly throwing a punch, with a slap, he hit Shen Jingzhe hard in the face. Jiang Jixiong again gripped his ribs, using all his grip strength. He directly took the soul ring from his hand. "Uncle Soul Ring, I finally got it back." At this time Bald Uncle clapped his hands and said, "I'm truly proud of you, young master." Hearing the words young master, Shen Jingzhe was even more confused. Who was this Jiang Jixiong? Then row after row of black cars appeared at the school gate. Whoosh whoosh, all the subordinates hurriedly got out of the cars, standing in rows at the school gate. At this time, the 3 flowers were shocked by this momentum, including Jiang Jixiong's 2 best friends, thinking some big leader was coming. Even the guidance counselor was trembling with fear. With a click, the moment he got out of the car, Jiang Jixiong looked at everyone coldly and arrogantly. Suddenly all the subordinates bowed and shouted, respectfully seeing off the young master. As soon as he reached the school gate, the subordinates had already lined up. Just from his walking posture, you could tell he was extraordinary. In an instant, all the subordinates bowed and shouted, respectfully seeing off the young master. But he didn't expect that as soon as he walked into the classroom. All the classmates were discussing how his previous kindness was all an act. Even his childhood sweetheart was saying he was a liar. At this moment Jiang Jixiong was stunned, making him very agitated. His former classmates now made him feel sick to his stomach. This reminded him of what Uncle Shu said, becoming good is difficult, but becoming bad is just a moment's work. Now he understood that he had thought Uncle's words were too simple. Just then, he met his best friends of 10 years in the hallway. When he went to greet them, however, his friends now looked at him with fear. They walked right past him, completely unwilling to have any further contact with him. Jiang Jixiong never thought even they would treat him like this. Suddenly with a thud, he fell to his knees. The world now seemed very dark to him. Then he sat alone dejectedly at the bridge outside the school. Fortunately, Li Yiji and Song Zhongxi found him. But just then his phone suddenly rang. Seeing it was a call from the student council president, he answered the phone, and after learning the reason, he stood up and said he had something to do and had to leave. Then Jiang Zhixiang left gloomily. At this moment, he had only one thought in his heart: to be the worst person. The long-waiting president also bluntly asked Jiang Zhixiang, "I heard your family is in the underworld, is that true?" Jiang Zhixiang's eyes sank. Does that matter anymore? However, the president only cared whether this would affect the school's image. At this time, the president said he had originally wanted to talk with him and then talk to the teachers, but it seemed unnecessary. Jiang Zhixiang, you don't seem like yourself at all. This startled Jiang Zhixiang. Damn it, not like me? Then what should I be like? Tightly clenching his fist, he really wanted to punch him. For the past 10 years I've tried my hardest to be a kind person, yet you suddenly treat me like this. Do you think I should be as kind as before? Suddenly with a bang, Jiang Zhixiang hit the iron door and shouted, "Should I be kind?" Then as he left, he told him he was no longer interested in the position of student council president. Meanwhile, Shen Jingjie was confronted again. Spiky uncle warned him, "If you want to live, don't go to school anymore." Pa, can't you see who you can fight against? Before leaving, Spiky uncle warned him again that if Shen Jingjie dared to play any tricks, he would finish him off. Shen Jingjie watched the two slowly leave. At this moment, he still thought Jiang Zhixiang was so arrogant in front of him because he had gangsters backing him. He said he couldn't sit idle, no matter what method, he would definitely get revenge. Thinking about how to catch Jiang Zhixiang's weakness, he suddenly thought of something. Immediately checking his phone, thinking, isn't there still this Han Shuzhen? Shuzhen was Jiang Zhixiang's childhood sweetheart. She must know Jiang Zhixiang's weaknesses. He immediately dialed Shuzhen's number. At this time, Shen Jingjie smiled sinisterly, saying even if he died, he would drag Jiang Zhixiang down with him. Shen Jingjie gently hinted to her that Jiang Zhixiang had found a dozen gangster uncles, and he had been beaten up without rhyme or reason. Suddenly Shuzhen was shocked. What? Zhixiang found gangsters to beat you up? I never thought he was this kind of person. I'm really disappointed in him. At this time, Shen Jingjie pressed his advantage, asking her what weaknesses Jiang Zhixiang had, such as Jiang Zhixiang's secrets or things he cherished. After thinking for a moment, Shuzhen told him, if we put aside things, does a person count? The next moment, Shen Jingjie smiled evilly. So that's it. He thought Jiang Zhixiang liked this nasty girl. The person Jiang Zhixiang cherished was actually Han Shuzhen. At this time, Shuzhen asked him, are we back together? Shen Jingjie stroked her little head and said, of course. I didn't know you were so important before. I was too harsh on you. I'm sorry. I'll treat you well. Will you give me another chance? Then Shen Jingjie took Shuzhen's hand. Meanwhile, on the other side, the three flowers were chatting about the relationship between Jiang Zhixiang and Li Yizhi. Li Yizhi secretly expressed that she liked Jiang Zhixiang, but not because his family was in a gang. However, at this moment, her best friend told her to turn Jiang Zhixiang into the most powerful man. But then Li Yizhi instantly started daydreaming. She imagined Jiang Zhixiang saying, Li Yizhi, this territory is mine now, and you're my next target. She thought if he was that domineering, it would be quite nice. Blushing, she covered her face and jumped up in excitement. Just then, the two minions of Shen Jingjie from earlier suddenly approached them. Hey, Li Yizhi, do you know where Jiang Zhixiang from your class went? As the two were about to leave after failing to get any information, little did they know Jiang Zhixiang was on his way back. The moment they turned around, Jiang Zhixiang suddenly appeared before them. The three flowers were stunned. Damn, speak of the devil, the person you're looking for is here. At this moment, Shen Jingjie's two minions were still putting on airs in front of the three flowers. The glasses guy extended his hand first, saying he was happy to meet Jiang Zhixiang and make friends. However, Jiang Zhixiang completely ignored him. He stood with his hands in his pockets, staring at them motionlessly. The glasses guy laughed. Look friend, don't refuse the wine only to be forced to drink a penalty. At this point, Jiang Zhixiang asked if they were friends of Shen Jingjie. However, the glasses guy mistakenly thought Jiang Zhixiang was also Shen Jingjie's friend. So he extended his hand saying, nice to meet you, I'm Zhang Zhenkai. Jiang Zhixiang's eyes flashed, nice to meet you, I'm Jiang Zhixiang. The glasses guy looked at Jiang Zhixiang gripping his hand tightly, his arm trembling. The next second, Jiang Zhixiang's eyes revealed a cold arrogance. With a crack, Jiang Zhixiang's grip instantly crushed his hand, making him howl in pain. The other minion beside him thought the glasses guy was pretending, and told him to stop making a scene. Damn it, I'm not exaggerating, help me quickly, this guy is a mad dog. This left Li Yizhi and her friends stunned. Damn, is Jiang Zhixiang from our class that strong? Suddenly Shen Jingjie's two minions let out a loud roar, thinking the goddess was still watching. Hey punk, let him go. With an angry roar, he threw a punch, but Jiang Zhixiang easily dodged. He immediately gripped his fist. Kid, hitting people is wrong. At this moment, Shen Jingjie's minions panicked. He panicked, never expecting this kid to be a wolf in sheep's clothing. Jiang Zhixiang's eyes sank, using his grip to slowly torture him. With a spinning potato move, he rotated his arm 360 degrees, showing off his fun for a moment, but the consequences were unbearable. Shen Jingjie's two minions immediately admitted defeat. Hearing this, Jiang Zhixiang released his hand. Standing dominantly behind them, he told them to get lost. Meanwhile, he also won over two fangirls, both exclaiming, wow, Jiang Zhixiang is amazing. Then the glasses guy exchanged glances with the two. They quickly fled desperately, not forgetting to make threats before leaving. Zhang Zixiong will see about this. Meanwhile, Li Yiji was captivated by Zixiong's coolness. Her face turned red, like a pervert, drooling uncontrollably, making her body instinctively step forward, starting to show concern for Zhang Zixiong. Just then, Zhang Zixiong said he had something to ask her, making Li Yiji shy again. Ask me, Zixiong, what is it? So Zhang Zixiong asked her, were those two just now Shen Jingjae's friends? Are they the troublemakers in our school? And, Li Yiji, are you a troublemaker too? After hearing this, Li Yiji looked very unhappy and gave a sullen, very good. Tell me all the troublemakers in our school except for you. Hearing except for you, Li Yiji immediately perked up. The two beside her were stunned. Oh my, special treatment, eh? Except for you? Afterwards the two reached an agreement. On the other side, Shen Jingjae and Xu Zhen were walking hand in hand when they ran into the two who had just been beaten by Zhang Zixiong. The four of them were immediately alarmed. Meanwhile, the glasses guy hurriedly asked Shen Jingjae what happened to his face. At this point, Xu Zhen wanted to say that Shen Jingjae had been beaten by Zhang Zixiong, but Shen Jingjae squeezed her hand tightly, told her to go back to the classroom first. We men have something to talk about. Xu Zhen didn't forget to look back before leaving. Then Shen Jingjae told them that he had been beaten by Zhang Zixiong, who brought more than 10 gangsters. The two were stunned. What? You say you were beaten by 10 gangsters? Then we can't afford to offend that kid. At this point, Shen Jingjae's eyes sank. Can't we just ask our boss Dubo for help? After hearing this, the two exchanged glances. If Dubo is willing to help, it shouldn't be a problem. So the three of them reached another consensus to deal with Zhang Zixiong. Meanwhile, Li Yiji was also starting to tell Zhang Zixiong about the troublemaker gangs in the nearby schools. The boss of our school is Li Dubo. You may not know that he's my brother, but you should know Song Zhongxi, who's the best fighter in our school. He and my brother have a senior-junior relationship in the judo club. Then there's Shen Jingjae's group that you're familiar with. Shen Jingjae used to be my brother's junior at the same school. There's another group in the school, their leader is called Zhao and Hao. He doesn't get along with my brother, but Shen Jingjae's group plus is only have 11 people. Then our school's troublemakers and the nearby school's troublemakers formed an ignorant normal alliance. The number should exceed 100 people. I want to defeat all the bad guys I see and become the baddest person. Meanwhile, Shen Jingjae also sought help from his boss to get revenge on Zhang Zixiong. After learning the reason, Li Dubo was furious. How dare they make my little brother's face look like this? Then Li Dubo told him to follow his instructions, saying he would solve the street problems for him. He told Shen Jingjae to go ahead with confidence. As a precaution, he also suggested that he call a few more brothers to prepare at the gymnasium. Before Li Dubo left, he patted his shoulder, telling him not to always get beaten up outside. When little brothers get beaten, the big brother feels heartbroken. Shen Jingjae hurriedly bowed to see him off. At this moment he was feeling extremely pleased, thinking that he could finally deal with Song Zhongxi and Zhang Zixiong. The next day, he neatly gathered his 10 minions and announced that he had good news to tell them. Upon hearing this, his minions thought he had gone crazy. How are we gonna deal with Song Zhongxi? Shen Jingjae gave an evil smile. Just trust me. Dubo said he's willing to help us. Don't you all have a grudge against Song Zhongxi too? Tomorrow we'll deal with them together. Early the next morning, Shen Jingjae slammed open the classroom door. He took big steps toward Song Zhongxi, who was sleeping. The classmates were stunned. What's going on? Why is he provoking Song Zhongxi while he's sleeping? Shen Jingjae stopped, sized him up carefully, nervously raised his right hand. With a slap, he hit Song Zhongxi's back. The classmates who saw this exclaimed, "My goodness, has Shen Jingjae gone crazy?" The next moment, Song Zhongxi slowly got up, thinking he had been bitten by a mosquito. Seeing this, Shen Jingjae said, "Hey punk, come with me to the gymnasium." The next second he ran away hurriedly, not forgetting to mock Song Zhongxi. "Punk, if you don't come, I'll consider you scared off by me." Song Zhongxi wouldn't let him get away with it. "Kid, you'll be dead soon." Shen Jingjae ran while thinking, "Punk, you dare to humiliate me in front of so many people. Hee hee, Song Zhongxi, you've messed with the wrong person this time." Then he ran panting to the sports field. Looking back, he found that Song Zhongxi hadn't followed yet, so he told his minions to prepare first. Let's beat him together in a bit. At this point he saw Dubo. What surprised him was that Li Dubo had also brought people from the ignorant normal alliance. Wuzhen School's Huang Deshuang, Jilan School's Li Dubo, Wuzhen School's Tao Yuan, Changnan School's Pu Mingjun. 4 school bullies appeared one after another. So Shen Jingjae became increasingly confident and called out Dubo. Li Dubo blinked, indicating that he should go ahead with confidence. On the other side, Song Zhongxi had also arrived at the gymnasium. The moment he pushed the door open, Song Zhongxi looked at him with disdain. After the two exchanged glances, Shen Jingjae asked with a grin, "Brothers, are you ready?" He pointed directly at Song Zhongxi and said, "Go brothers, take him down." However, his so-called brothers didn't move. They looked at him blankly. "Why aren't you going first?" "Hey, what's going on? Why aren't you acting? What are you trying to do?" At this point, Song Zhongxi was already approaching step by step, just as Shen Jingjae was shouting, "Punk, I told you not to come any closer." Song Zhongxi's eyes sank, his back foot instantly exerting force. His left hand quickly clenched into a fist to buffer the force. With a bang, Song Jiangxi's fist, as heavy as a mountain, landed directly on his face. The next moment, Shen Jingji's screams echoed throughout the gymnasium, making him slide across the floor. The floor was even scraped into sparks by him. He only managed to stop at the center of the gymnasium. This made the rest of the minions panic, all showing expressions of despair. However, Song Jiangxi looked at them expressionlessly as if they were a bunch of clowns. The 3 school bullies were alarmed after seeing this. Damn, he's simply a monster. At this point, Shen Jingji was still shouting, "Punk, you're going down soon," still being so arrogant. At this point, Shen Jingji hurriedly called out, "Dubo!" and Dubo on the side pretended not to hear or see. Shen Jingji panicked. "Dubo, didn't you say you would help me?" Suddenly the back door banged, making Shen Jingji pale. "Jiang Jixiong, why are you here?" Jiang Jixiong told him arrogantly, "I came to deal with you personally." Upon hearing this, Shen Jingji began to look around. Why aren't any of you helping me? It instantly made him think, what's going on? Something must have gone wrong. Jiang Jixiong is here too. Could it be? No, it can't be. Dubo, what's going on? Say something. At this point, Jiang Jixiong told him to stop talking nonsense. Or are you afraid? Shen Jingji snorted. What fear? You're just a waste who calls in gangsters to help when fighting. The next moment he rolled up his fist. Punk, what are you so arrogant about? Whoosh! He rushed past Song Jiangxi like the wind, instantly jumping up. Damn! Don't think I won't hit you just because your family is connected to the underworld. But his fist was instantly dodged by Jiang Jixiong, who then locked onto his ribs, using his grip, with an iron hand technique. Crack! Jiang Jixiong made him experience what unbearable pain was like again. But this time, Shen Jingji broke free from Jiang Jixiong's attack, and began to jump back hurriedly. Shen Jingji adjusted his state again, and pounced toward Jiang Jixiong. Gritting his teeth, slowly building power in his left hand. "Jiang, I'm left-handed." Whoosh whoosh, still dodged. Jiang Jixiong even taunted, "Kid, too slow." The next second, Jiang Jixiong's eyes turned white, instantly locking onto his arm. Grabbing his arm, his eyes glowing, he began to use his terrifying grip. Swaying, Shen Jingji panicked, but Jiang Jixiong with a grip, cracked his arm into a twisted pretzel, making his face contort in pain, unable to even call for his mother. At this point, Jiang Jixiong really didn't want to see his face anymore, so he gave him another hit. At this point, Shen Jingji's neck should be broken. The 2 school bullies exclaimed after seeing this, "So he's the heir of the Fire Bear gang, quite skilled." And on the other side, Shen Jingji slowly got up again, fumbling for something. He took out a dagger. "Jiang Jixiong, this was originally meant for Song Jiangxi, but it's your honor." Jiang Jixiong was shocked. "Damn, you're going too far using a knife." But at this point, Shen Jingji didn't care about these things, laughing maniacally. "Jiang Jixiong, are you afraid? You should be. This is your true face." Suddenly, Shen Jingji jumped directly, pouncing on Jiang Jixiong like a mad dog. Just then, a microphone sound suddenly came from inside the gymnasium. Everyone turned to look and saw 2 other students kneeling there with shaved heads. That's right, the one on the podium was none other than my social bald uncle. Shen Jingji saw this, and his scalp went numb, thinking, why is it this bald guy again? And the bald uncle told him to put down the weapon before fighting. The bald uncle saw that he didn't react. He said if he didn't put down the weapon, he would go over and kill him. Hearing this, Shen Jingji trembled all over. The fear of being dominated by the bald uncle was deeply ingrained in his heart. Clang, he threw the weapon on the ground. Then the bald uncle told him to continue fighting. However, at this point, Shen Jingji said it wasn't fair. "My nasal bone has been broken by Song Jiangxi." Hearing this, Jiang Jixiong told him to wait. Then he asked Song Jiangxi to punch him the same way he punched Shen Jingji. Song Jiangxi also very neatly rolled up his fist. "This is the first time I've heard such a request." Bang! With this punch, Jiang Jixiong's jaw should be dislocated too. This made the bald uncle terrified, and Shen Jingji was surprised by this action, thinking that this waste was quite fierce. Wuzhen School's Huang Dazhuang thought Jiang Jixiong was more suitable to be a boss. At this point, the bald uncle and Li Dubo exchanged glances. The 2 nodded very tacitly, as if everything was planned by them. On the other side, Jiang Jixiong didn't want to waste any more time, wanting to end this battle quickly. At this point, Shen Jingji still thought Jiang Jixiong was going to grab his ribs again. He thought as long as he kept his distance from Jiang Jixiong couldn't do anything to him. But Jiang Jixiong just exerted force with his left foot on the ground, flying up like Superman. "Hey kid, see where you can run." Before Shen Jingji could react, Jiang Jixiong had already pounced on him. The next second, Jiang Jixiong became ferocious. "Kid, you're dead this time." But their posture seemed somewhat familiar. Even the bald uncle was watching intently, thinking he hadn't taught the young master ground techniques yet. Meanwhile, the 2 school bullies were also confused. Why didn't he attack when he was in an advantageous position? At this point, Jiang Jixiong had no idea what to do next. Shen Jingji kept shouting, "Jiang, didn't you say you would fight fair and square?" Just then, Jiang Jixiong no longer cared about anything else, directly using all his grip strength. The next moment, Shen Jingji's wrist turned blue from being squeezed. His face was full of pain, as if he was being choked. At this moment, Jiang Jixiong seemed to have completely lost his rationality. Seeing Shen Jingji's face repeatedly reminded him of Shen Jingji and Xu Zhan's intimate actions. 10 years of effort to be kind only to be met with Xu Zhen saying she liked bad boys. At this moment, Zhang Zhixiang could no longer hold back, making him feel it wasn't worth it. At this point, Shen Jingjie kept telling Zhang Zhixiang to stop, telling him his arm might break. At this point Zhang Zhixiang gave an evil smile. I can't stop now. The next moment he rolled up his fist, his eyes turning white. Bang! 1 punch, bang bang, 2 punches, bang bang bang, 3 punches, crying while beating, shouting, "Weren't you very tough before? Hey, don't think I'll stop beating you just because you've lost consciousness." Fortunately, Song Zhongxi called him to stop in time. Otherwise, Shen Jingjie would have been finished. Gu Mingjun watched with satisfaction. This man beat his enemy, but he's in pain himself. Perhaps there's a hidden story. Nearby, Tao Yuan laughed and added, "Hidden story? I think he's just a psycho, as brutal as his father." However, at this point, Shen Jingjie's 2 minions suddenly began arguing over who would become the new boss. Hearing this, Zhang Zhixiang became angry. He turned his head and gave them a look, telling them that from today he would deal with all of them. Then, the vast gymnasium suddenly became very quiet. At this point, Gu Mingjun spoke first, saying that's enough for today, the rest will be dealt with later. Then he immediately stepped forward wanting to shake hands with Zhang Zhixiang, confident in his social skills. However, Zhang Zhixiang just looked at him once, directly shaking off his hand. I said I would deal with all of you, including people from the ignorant Normal Alliance. Gu Mingjun angrily expressed that he wanted to fight Zhang Zhixiang. At this point, Li Dubo told him to calm down first, telling him that Zhang Zhixiang was very emotional now. Whatever was said, he would be full of aggression. Then the 3 school bullies left first. At this point, the 2 clowns were still calling for Dubo to choose a new leader. However, Li Dubo directly told them to get lost. Upon hearing this, everyone could only leave reluctantly. At this point, the bald uncle gave Zhang Zhixiang a thumbs up. After praising him, he told Zhang Zhixiang to go home first. After Zhang Zhixiang and Song Zhongxi left, the bald uncle strode like a man and said, "Dubo, thank you for your hard work." Li Dubo immediately bowed, calling him Brother Qixiang. As the 2 were about to leave, the bald uncle told him not to be nervous, saying he had spoken to the big brother just to say hello was fine. Otherwise, the bald uncle stopped, touched the razor on the back of his head. Oh my, I almost forgot, the after-sales service can't be neglected. With a series of operations, he stripped Shen Jingjie's clothes completely. This left Li Dubo stunned, so Shen Jingjie's hair was shaved by Brother Qixiang. After shaving, the bald uncle told Li Dubo to follow him. Seeing Shen Jingjie like this, the bald uncle's method could be said to be brutal. At this point, the 2 kneeling on the podium immediately stood up and called out, "Jingjie!" As the 2 had been kneeling for too long, their legs were numb, walking like zombies. They hurriedly woke him up. "Jingjie, wake up, we've been tricked." When he woke up, he found his body completely naked. He gritted his teeth, never expecting to suffer such humiliation. He became very agitated. Damn it, bald bastard. At this moment, Shen Jingjie finally understood that he had been tricked. He was the only one who didn't know all this. They had all colluded against him, those friends he once trusted. And Dubo, whom he trusted like a brother. He thought they had conspired to make a fool of him. The next moment, Shen Jingjie laughed. The 2 brothers beside him thought he had gone crazy. Damn it, they've messed with the wrong person. Do they think it's over after playing me? This is even better. I will have my revenge. I will kill all of them. I've got nothing to lose anyway. I'll show them how terrifying a person with nothing to fear can be. However, on the other side, the news of Zhang Zhixiang defeating Shen Jingjie had spread throughout the school. Meanwhile, the information of Zhang Zhixiang declaring war on the ignorant Normal Alliance also spread quickly. Of course, the Firebear gang was no exception. They definitely had to congratulate Zhang Zhixiang on becoming the new generation boss. Meanwhile, the bald uncle told Li Dubo to take this opportunity to greet the brothers. So he called out with sweat all over, "Nice to meet everyone, I'm Li Dubo." This scared him quite a bit. And on the other side, Zhang Zhixiang was taking manly strides, stating that now he could adapt, not forgetting to spit a couple of times. When he returned home, it was very quiet. He thought this familiar feeling gave him a sense of foreboding. At this point, he stopped in his tracks. "Father, why are you here?" Father Zhang immediately got up and put out his cigarette. He hugged Zhang Zhixiang tightly. This sudden action made Zhang Zhixiang unsure of what to do. "Son, I heard you've already taken over your school. That's great. I'm really proud of you. I've waited for this moment for too long." This moved the uncles to tears. Everyone shouted. The boss finally embraced the young master. But for Zhang Zhixiang, Father Zhang hadn't hugged him for 10 years. After 10 years, feeling his father's embrace again made him feel very warm. He thought perhaps this was quite good. Suddenly Father Zhang pushed him away. "Son, I'm sorry on such a good day, I'm too emotional." Then he immediately turned and called out, "Brothers, what are you doing on such a good day? Hurry up and raise your glasses to celebrate." Everyone celebrated together, congratulating the young master. This scene was really grand. Meanwhile, Father Zhang announced that from today this day would be set as a memorial day in the gang. However, at this point, Zhang Zhixiang was deep in thought, looking at the wine in the cup, very hesitant whether to drink it or not. But his father and uncles were all watching. To not ruin the atmosphere, he finally drank it all. His father and uncles watched with amazement. The next second, Zhang Zhixiang's face turned black, this taste, and his father and uncles kept asking how he felt. The next moment Zhang Zhixiang regretted it. This tastes terrible, why do you drink this? Upon hearing this, the three uncles immediately showed unhappy expressions. At this point, Father Zhang pointed at him and laughed. Son, it's supposed to taste like this. Just like life. This is your first time drinking, so your father specially prepared it. Ha ha ha, the son of a gangster actually doesn't like to drink. The wine I asked you to drink is worth 20 million, the rest of you enjoy. Hearing this, the minions were embarrassed, all expressing, thank you boss. Then Father Zhang didn't say more, saying he was going out for some air, telling them to continue playing. At this point, he patted Zhang Zhixiang's shoulder. Seeing his son able to follow the right path made him very satisfied. Zhang Zhixiang saw his father, and uncles seemed to be discussing him, making him curious about what his father meant. After going outside, Father Zhang said he was in a good mood today. He wanted to reward Uncle Shu properly. However, just then, a minion coming down from the car. Boss, why did you come out so quickly? Father Zhang told him he would go back in later, also asking him to go in for a drink. But Li Xiwan immediately bowed. I don't need to. I still have to drive later. You have fun, boss. After Father Zhang went in, Liang Zhaishu gave him a glance. Suddenly Li Xiwan smiled evilly. It seems the slap you got has healed. Uncle Shu's face turned black, but he completely ignored him. Clang, and so Li Xiwan stood outside like an idiot. On the other side, the uncles were already drunk. Oh, it made Uncle Shu want to punch these punks. How could they be so out of control with the boss still there? Father Zhang told him not to mind these things, instructing him to call Zhang Zhixiang to the rooftop. When Uncle Shu called Zhang Zhixiang suddenly stood up. Uncle, my heart is beating so fast. At this point, Uncle Shu told him to pull himself together. Go quickly and see. Zhang Zhixiang scratched his head awkwardly. However, as soon as he reached the rooftop door, he saw the bald uncle. But Zhang Zhixiang felt the bald uncle looked a bit strange, so he nervously asked what his father called him for. All of a sudden, he saw the certificates on the ground. Aren't these my certificates? Why are they here? Father Zhang's eyes sank. He told him to burn all these things. You are no longer a kind model citizen, you are Zhang Zhixiang, the heir of the Fire Bear gang. Your behavior should match your identity, burn your past, start anew. Zhang Zhixiang looked at the certificates for good conduct, active participation in community service, being a role model for others. He thought, this is how I used to be, but now it's different. Then he directly took the box and poured it in. I must make a change. Father, am I doing the right thing? Father Zhang hugged him. You've done something very difficult. I'm really proud of you, son. After Father Zhang left, he became very confused, thinking perhaps this is what a filial son should do. At this point, Li Yiji suddenly called him. So late and Yiji is calling me. He immediately went downstairs and looked around to see if the uncles were asleep, thinking everything was fine. However, a shadow stood behind him. Young master, so late, where are you sneaking off to? Zhang Zhixiang told the uncles with sweat all over that he was going to meet a girl. Upon hearing this, the drunken uncles immediately pricked up their ears. Even the bald uncle kindly asked Zhang Zhixiang if he had a girlfriend. At this point, the drunken uncles hearing it was the young master's girlfriend all got excited. The uncles all expressed that they wanted to teach Zhang Zhixiang dating skills. The next moment, Zhang Zhixiang ran away. It's like a bunch of single dogs teaching another single dog. Just as he got outside, he was blinded by a bright light. Li Yiji was sitting on a small moped, asking Zhang Zhixiang if she looked cool. However, it shocked him, thinking Li Yiji's moped was stolen, and she was driving without a license. After Li Yiji explained to him, this misunderstanding was resolved. Then the two came to a park, talking about Li Yiji getting hit by a rock earlier. Li Yiji teased him, if this pretty face of mine gets scarred, I'm done for. At this point, Zhang Zhixiang reached out and asked, you wouldn't be lying because you're afraid I'd worry, would you? Gently stroking her forehead, lifting her hair to see if there was a scar. The next moment, Li Yiji's face turned red, her heart racing. Just as Zhang Zhixiang was relieved there was no scar, Li Yiji suddenly stood up, telling him she was leaving first, they would meet at school tomorrow. Li Yiji immediately started her moped, thinking if she didn't leave quickly, Zhixiang would definitely hear her heartbeat. The more she thought about it, the more her face flushed and her heart raced. At this moment, Li Yiji just wanted to escape quickly. Meanwhile, Shen Jingzhi's group was planning how to target Song Zhongxi and Zhang Zhixiang. However, the glasses guy immediately said he wouldn't participate when he heard they were going to kidnap someone. Shen Jingzhi directly gave him the international gesture. Then he reached an agreement with Shen Jingzhi. Exactly 6 people. The next day they started following Song Zhongxi and Zhang Zhixiang. At this point, Song Zhongxi and Zhang Zhixiang suddenly stopped, scaring the three with sweat all over, thinking they had been discovered. However, they just wanted to buy something to bring back for the sister to eat. When Duan saw her brother return, she quickly threw herself into her brother's arms. After explaining everything, the two said goodbye and left. Little did they know that Shen Jingzhi and his 3 men hiding in the dark had already started calculating how to kidnap his sister. Unexpectedly, following Duan, they encountered Zhang Zhixiang, thinking if they dealt with Zhang Zhixiang first, then took Duan with them to teach her a lesson too. Just thinking about it made him excited. He immediately told his brothers this was a good opportunity to kidnap both of them. but the others immediately objected. Kidnapping Zhang Zhixiang was one thing, but kidnapping a little kid was going too far. All expressed they couldn't do it. This angered Shen Jingjie, who shouted, "Bunch of cowards, I want to beat up Song Jiangxi too, but the 6 of us simply can't beat him, that's why I came up with this strategy." It made him grit his teeth, thinking unless Song Jiangxi suddenly became lame. However, Song Jiangxi had just finished training his legs. He was limping back on the road. At this very moment he was spotted by this bastard, who hurriedly called Shen Jingjie to come look. Shen Jingjie looked. Oh my, it really is Song Jiangxi, but why is his leg lame? The next moment, Shen Jingjie laughed. He laughed. Heaven is helping me. Is it God telling me to go deal with Song Jiangxi? Brothers, I'll listen to you. Let's not touch that little girl. Let's go deal with Song Jiangxi directly. Come on, brothers. Then everyone began picking up their weapons. Swagger walking on the street, looking like they were on the edge of death again. Meanwhile, Song Jiangxi was also just wanting to feel the soreness of climbing stairs after leg training, completely unaware that danger was approaching. With a brother's attack, Shen Jingjie's group raised their weapons and started surrounding him. When he turned around, his face immediately became grave. At this moment, Shen Jingjie was already behind him, raising his weapon, smiling confidently. Bang bang bang, die punk. Just as Song Jiangxi wanted to counterattack, his leg was too sore to use any strength. Before he could react, he was hit from behind with a stick, making his eyes go white. Bang bang bang, everyone started beating him. Song Jiangxi desperately protected his head, started observing their attack patterns, thinking 6 people shouldn't be a problem. The next moment Song Jiangxi locked onto his target, took a fighting stance, right hand protecting his head, left hand clenching into a fist, slowly building power. Bang, a left hook directly landed heavily on the blonde's face. Bang bang bang, another right hook to the blonde, beating him until his own mother wouldn't recognize him. Meanwhile, suddenly one of these bastards came jumping from the front, wanting to give him an aerial stab, but he was still sent flying by Song Jiangxi's punch, howling in pain. Suddenly, the green-robed man swung a steel pipe from behind him, still blocked by Song Jiangxi's strong arm. He directly lifted him up in the air. With a loud crash, the green-robed man landed on his head. Whoosh! Nearby, Shen Jingjie appeared behind him again. Bang with the stick, Song Jiangxi was hit with a concussion. Finally, he couldn't hold on, his legs gave out and he knelt down. But at this moment, his first thought was whether his sister would be in danger. After falling down, his legs no longer had any strength, and he could only let them beat him. After a while, Shen Jingjie told them to tie up Song Jiangxi and carry him to the car. Then the men efficiently stuffed him into the car. Meanwhile, Doan and Zhang Zhixiang were just on their way back. At this moment, Doan asked Zhang Zhixiang to look over there, as it seemed like there had been a car accident. Looking carefully, it was actually her brother. Doan immediately burst into tears, thinking her brother had been hit by a car. Zhang Zhixiang roared loudly, "Shen Jingjie, you bastard, you're dead this time." Shen Jingjie directly gave him an international hand gesture. Zhang Zhixiang slowly comforted Doan, telling her not to worry. "I will definitely bring your brother back safely." He never expected that Shen Jingjie would now start committing crimes, so he hurriedly went home to call his uncles, saying he needed their help. But because today was a dinner gathering, the uncles were already drunk. At that moment, he saw Uncle Shu sitting on the sofa, but after calling him several times there was no response. So he reached out and pushed him a little, and Zhang Zhixiang was stunned. Uncle Shu had fallen asleep. He began to look around to see if Bald Uncle was there. However, Bald Uncle was sleeping soundly. Then Zhang Zhixiang decided not to disturb them anymore, thinking it would be better to call the police. Just as he was dialing the police uncle's number, Xu Zhen suddenly called him. He immediately answered the phone asking where Xu Zhen was. However, the voice on the other end was Shen Jingjie. Shen Jingjie was very smug. "Hello, can't you recognize my voice? I'm Shen Jingjie. If you want to see Xu Zhen, then come quickly, I'll send you the address. Also, if you dare to bring your uncles or call the police, watch out for Xu Zhen's life." After saying that, Shen Jingjie hung up the phone, making Zhang Zhixiang's eyes widen with anger. "Kid, I'll kill you later. Even without my uncle's help, I can beat you up." Just as he reached the door, he ran into Li Yizhi. After Li Yizhi learned what had happened, the two rode a scooter to the abandoned warehouse. Because they were going too fast, Li Yizhi told him to hold on to her waist, or he would fall off. However, Zhang Zhixiang only lightly pinched her clothes. After they arrived at the old warehouse, Zhang Zhixiang handed her the helmet, telling her to go back first. He told her he was going to fight them. Li Yizhi watched his retreating figure, silently thinking to herself, "Zhixiang, I'm going to be the woman behind you in the future. How could I let you go alone?" Meanwhile, Shen Jingjie and his gang were discussing whether Zhang Zhixiang would bring his uncles, expressing that none of them wanted their heads shaved. Shen Jingjie told them not to worry, stating that they had 2 hostages. At this point, he glanced at Song Jiangxi, deliberately asking him if Zhang Zhixiang would bring his uncles to beat them up. Seeing that he was silent and not answering, Shen Jingjie slapped him. "Oh, I forgot you have tape on your mouth and can't answer." Then he slapped him again. "What, you want to hit me? Why don't you hit me? Oh, I forgot your hands are tied up too, you can't hit me." The next moment, he unleashed a barrage of physical attacks on Song Jiangxi. "Ha ha ha, you punk. Who told you to be so arrogant before?" But no matter how much Song Jiangxi was beaten, he didn't make a sound. Suddenly Xu Zhen stopped him. asking if he would beat Zhixiang like this when he arrived. Shen Jingjie directly said, of course, you bitch, or do you want to take the beating for him? Hearing this, Xuzhen became very scared, too frightened to speak. Shen Jingjie pinched her chin, telling her, you're just bait, if you talk too much I'll beat you too. At this moment she hoped Jiang Zhixiang would come quickly to save her, thinking to herself how much she hated bad people now. Meanwhile, Yellow Hair asked him what they would do if that dead Baldy came. Shen Jingjie gave an evil smile and told them not to worry, saying that there was an older guy outside waiting to help them. At that moment, a dark shadow suddenly appeared. Jiang Zhixiang arrived at their door with murderous intent, saying, kid, you're dead this time. When Xuzhen saw Jiang Zhixiang, her eyes lit up. At the same time, Shen Jingjie ordered his minions to take him down. The minions laughed. Do we all need to fight him together? Yellow Hair said he alone was enough to handle Jiang Zhixiang. Just as Jiang Zhixiang was getting into his fighting stance, Yellow Hair was already coming straight at him with a swift strike, but Jiang Zhixiang dodged. Jiang Zhixiang immediately stepped back, one hand grabbing his arm, his right leg starting to apply force, his right knee striking directly into Yellow Hair's face. Just as Yellow Hair's nose was bleeding, Jiang Zhixiang grabbed his hair, telling them to release Xuzhen and Song Zhongxi. Otherwise, he would rip Yellow Hair's scalp off. But Shen Jingjie and his gang didn't move at all. So Jiang Zhixiang forcefully pulled out Yellow Hair's hair and threw him to the side. Damn it, I almost forgot, you guys have no loyalty. You don't care if your friend's scalp gets ripped off. Then I'll deal with all of you. Shen Jingjie laughed loudly. If you don't have those thug uncles backing you up, you're nothing, you're just all talk. Not counting Li Guangyu, we still have 5 people, can you beat us all? Jiang Zhixiang's eyes darkened, thinking he needed to find a way to take down Shen Jingjie first. With a roar he began to jump, but he didn't expect Shen Jingjie to dodge his attack. Shen Jingjie returned with a series of punches. However, at this moment, Jiang Zhixiang tightly grabbed his collar, his right hand beginning to form a fist, quickly gathering strength. With a boom, he hit him directly in the face. The face was dented inward. At this moment, the man in the green robe hit him with a stick from behind. Before Jiang Zhixiang could react, another person kicked him from the side. Indeed, it was a wave after wave of physical attacks. Kid, there's a limit to being arrogant. How do the studded shoes feel? Let me let you experience it again. But Jiang Zhixiang grabbed him. The next moment he howled in pain, feeling as if his bones were about to crack. On the other side, Li Yiji was shocked after seeing this, thinking to herself that Zhixiang was incredible at fighting. Then she began to sneak in. Luckily Jiang Zhixiang and the others were fighting so intensely they didn't notice. She began untying Song Zhongxi, but didn't expect the ropes to be tied so tightly. At this time, Xuzhen also saw Li Yiji untying Song Zhongxi. She directly shouted, Li Yiji, help me! This made both of them speechless. Ah, Xuzhen, you idiot. Hearing the cry for help, Shen Jingjie immediately stopped and looked towards Li Yiji. When Li Yiji turned around, a club was already at the back of her head. With a thud, Li Yiji was knocked unconscious. Seeing this, Jiang Zhixiang became enraged. Shen Jingjie, if I don't kill you today, my name isn't Jiang. At this moment, the long-haired man had already set up his attacking stance. With a blow, he directly broke several of Jiang Zhixiang's ribs. Then the two began to gang up on him. For Shen Jingjie at this moment, it was extremely satisfying, continuously mocking Jiang Zhixiang. Look at that guy getting beaten, that's more like it, that's what a loser looks like. The next moment, Shen Jingjie directly picked up a club, ordering his minions to hold Jiang Zhixiang down, saying he wanted to bash Jiang Zhixiang's head. Haha, I even brought an electric razor today, let's shave your head too. At this moment, Jiang Zhixiang panicked, but the club never landed on his head. Gritting his teeth, he opened one eye to look. Holy shit, Song Zhongxi was tightly gripping the club, making it impossible for Shen Jingjie to move it. Shen Jingjie turned to look. What the hell, Song Zhongxi? But at this moment, Song Zhongxi's fist was already coming towards his face. With a loud bang, Shen Jingjie's face was directly deformed by the punch. He never would have guessed that before Li Yiji was knocked unconscious. Song Zhongxi's ropes had already been mostly untied. It was just a matter of time. At this moment, Song Zhongxi coolly tore off the tape on his mouth. None of you little scumbags are getting away. Seeing this, the long-haired man and the green-robed man were terrified, discussing whether they should attack together, thinking that Song Zhongxi was already seriously injured. Seeing the two let their guard down, Jiang Zhixiang broke free and struck back. At this time, Song Zhongxi told him that he would handle things here, asking him to help Han Shizhan untie her bonds, and then call an ambulance for Li Yiji. Meanwhile, Shen Jingjie and his gang said they would fight to the end today. However, on the other side, Han Shizhan directly threw herself into Jiang Zhixiang's arms. This instantly made Li Yiji's jealousy soar. Hey Zhixiang, my forehead is still bleeding. After Jiang Zhixiang comforted the two, he immediately joined Song Zhongxi in battle, saying, let's finish this quickly. Song Zhongxi smiled slightly. Alright, but those guys all have weapons. It won't be easy to deal with them, can you handle it? Jiang Zhixiang immediately stated. Of course, these trash are done for. With Shen Jingjie's loud shout, you punk, still so arrogant brothers, let's start hunting. At this moment, Song Zhongxi was shocked, thinking Jiang Zhixiang was amazing. Creating his own moves based on explosive power and grip strength in such a short time, this made the two punks completely panic. His strength rivaled Song Zhongxi's. Meanwhile, Jiang Zhixiang said his arm felt hot, like his clothes were too tight. But this feeling wasn't unfamiliar to him, and the sting was familiar. Jiang Zhixiang began to slowly unbutton his sleeve. In the past, when he often massaged his uncles, every night before sleep, his arms would feel pain. The pain from massaging was enough to make him forget the pain of growing up. This punk thought Jiang Zhixiang was trying to act cool, thinking physical strength was what mattered in a fight. One punch was caught by Jiang Zhixiang. His face instantly turned ugly. No matter how he struggled, his hand wouldn't move. With Jiang Zhixiang's shout of crushing potatoes, his grip turned the guy's hand into something like a crushed can. He kept howling, screams echoing throughout the old warehouse. Seeing this, the man in the red robe immediately ran over to help. His right leg began to rise, about to attack Jiang Zhixiang. Suddenly, a fist came from his side, hitting him hard in the face. The coordination between the two was absolutely perfect. At this point, Song Zhongxi told him not to worry about these small fry, telling him to continue fighting Shen Jingzhe. Jiang Zhixiang gripped the man with one hand, quickly clenching his other fist. With a bang, the punk's face was instantly beaten black and blue. Shen Jingzhe's gang panicked. Damn, these two hit too hard. Seeing this, Shen Jingzhe immediately took out his phone to call for backup, telling his brothers that he would call that older guy now, and before he arrived, they should keep Song Zhongxi busy, while he would keep Jiang Zhixiang occupied. In an instant, Shen Jingzhe headed toward Jiang Zhixiang, while the other four went toward Song Zhongxi. However, at this time, the pain in Song Zhongxi's legs was becoming unbearable, but they didn't care about that. All four raised their weapons and attacked him. Punk, take my flying leg, eat my club, die you punk. Just as Jiang Zhixiang wanted to go help, Shen Jingzhe stopped him. Where are you looking? Punk, your opponent is here. What the hell, what's going on? Why is he taking off his clothes? Shen Jingzhe thought that by taking off his top, Jiang Zhixiang wouldn't be able to grab him. On the other side, Song Zhongxi was still protecting his head first, starting to calmly observe, thinking he would take them down one by one, no matter how much he was beaten. For him, the most important thing was to protect his head. The next moment, Song Zhongxi locked onto his target. With a punch, he hit the red-robed man in the abdomen. One punch sent him flying several meters, shocking the three others. Then, it was the green-robed man in front of him. Targeting precisely, he struck the green-robed man's jaw. Song Zhongxi's next target was locked onto the long-haired man. Just as Song Zhongxi was about to throw a punch, suddenly Yellow Hair ambushed him from behind, kicking the inside of his knee. Seeing this, all four pounced. Brothers, attack his legs. Meanwhile, Jiang Zhixiang looked worriedly at Song Zhongxi. With a boom, Shen Jingzhe's fist hit his face. Hey loser, don't be so distracted, it makes me sad. On the other side, the older guy who was supposed to help them was getting out of his car. These little punks, getting beaten in a group fight? If it weren't for Boss Li Shiwan's orders, I wouldn't bother getting involved. Just a moment ago, the big boss of the central branch of the Fire Bear gang, Li Shiwan, had sent his minions to ambush and kill Jiang Zhixiang. He had even given them his meaningful ring. Meanwhile, on the other side, Jiang Zhixiang and Shen Jingzhe were fighting intensely. But unexpectedly, after Shen Jingzhe took off his top, his movements became very agile, landing a punch on Jiang Zhixiang's abdomen. Jumping with Bruce Lee's steps, he didn't forget to mock Jiang Zhixiang. Can a loser like you protect women? At this time, Song Zhongxi had just finished dealing with the others. Seeing this, Shen Jingzhe felt a surge of fear, thinking that if Song Zhongxi recovered, he would be finished. He immediately took out his phone and frantically dialed the thug uncle's number. Little did he know that you should never turn your back on an enemy during a fight. With a punch, Jiang Zhixiang knocked him back 2 meters, making Shen Jingzhe grit his teeth in anger. It seemed he was missing 2 front teeth. He immediately got up, with his left hand reaching for something. Suddenly, he pulled out a 4-centimeter large knife from his pocket, waving the 4-centimeter large knife saying, "Kid, today you want me to leave a mark on your face, right?" After saying this, Shen Jingzhe waved the 4-centimeter large knife and lunged, forcing Jiang Zhixiang to retreat continuously. While retreating, Jiang Zhixiang felt like he had bumped into something. Looking back, he was met with a fiery fist, just as Song Zhongxi was trying to endure the pain to go help. Shen Jingzhe's 4-centimeter large knife was pointed at him. "You better stay put. Otherwise, my 4-centimeter large knife doesn't have eyes." On the other side, Jiang Zhixiang had just stood up. The thug uncle had prepared his attack stance. With a bang, luckily Jiang Zhixiang blocked most of the attack with his arm. However, with this strike, his head was shaken and his vision became blurry. Well, I thought they raised a tiger, but it turns out to be a cat. "Kid, today I'll send you on your way." Well, you're grabbing me, and then what? The next moment, Jiang Zhixiang used all his grip strength, with a shout of crushing potatoes, but nothing happened, leaving the uncle confused. Then the thug uncle quickly raised his left fist, giving him 2 more punches. "Still crushing potatoes? Can you crush anything?" But suddenly Jiang Zhixiang pushed his legs against the ground, startling the thug uncle, who thought he was an idiot watching Jiang Zhixiang jump into the air. Then Jiang Zhixiang came down. already targeting his ribs. The pain made the thug uncle spit out saliva. This was followed by Jiang Zhixiong's endless iron grip. At this moment, the thug uncle gave an evil smile. Throwing him aside, suddenly there came a low, rumbling sound from outside, making him tense up, thinking the police had arrived. Then the thug uncle began to flee. Meanwhile, Uncle Shu and Baldy Uncle had arrived outside. This time they were really angry. How dare you mess with the heir of the Tiger Bear gang? You guys are dead. Just now, when Jiang Zhixiong was desperately chasing after the thug uncle who had hit him, he didn't expect the uncle to have a car. At this time, Jiang Zhixiong tightly grabbed the door handle, making him sweat, thinking that the son of the Fire Bear gang's boss was indeed extraordinary. But Jiang Zhixiong was still kicked away by the thug uncle. Meanwhile, on the other side, Uncle Shu had just reached the door when he ran into Yellow Hair. Yellow Hair thought it was the police coming to save them. But seeing Bald Uncle next to him, Yellow Hair panicked. The poor child had just crawled out of a wolf's den only to enter a tiger's lair. At this time, Bald Uncle also recognized him, so he directly grabbed what little hair Yellow Hair had left. No matter how Yellow Hair struggled or begged, Bald Uncle just dragged him outside. While Uncle Shu was looking around, he also saw Shen Jingzhe's gang being held by Song Zhongxi. So Uncle Shu asked him where Jiang Zhixiong was. Song Zhongxi pointed to the back door, telling Uncle Shu that Jiang Zhixiong had gone to chase a thug who ran in that direction. Hearing the word thug, Uncle's eyes instantly became sharp, wondering if other gangs had started making moves. Then he patted Song Zhongxi on the shoulder, asking him to hold Shen Jingzhe for a bit longer. Uncle Shu had just reached the back door when he saw Jiang Zhixiong, but seeing the young master's face with injuries made Uncle Shu very angry. He began urgently asking, "Young master, are you hurt anywhere else? Did the thug who escaped run away in a car?" Jiang Zhixiong awkwardly replied to Uncle Shu that his face was injured by the guy Song Zhongxi was holding. Instantly, Uncle Shu strode forward and told Song Zhongxi to let go. Song Zhongxi immediately released his grip, while Shen Jingzhe looked confused, and at this moment Shen Jingzhe could only watch as the approaching spiral kick came closer. With a loud bang, Shen Jingzhe heavily received Uncle Shu's spiral kick. Uncle Shu kicked him several meters away, like a football, kicking him into the wall so hard he couldn't be pried off, followed by a scream. The two onlookers were stunned. "Zhixiong, your uncle is so violent, but I like it." However, seeing this scene, the four punks were terrified. The next moment, the four punks began to quietly play dead on the ground. Uncle Shu grabbed Shen Jingzhe's leg, while looking at the four punks. Hey, you kids pretending to be dead, get up." The next second, the four punks quickly stood up straight. Indeed, Uncle Shu was a suited thug. Shen Jingzhe's face was being dragged along the ground. Later, when they brought everyone outside, the two police officers looked horrified. What happened? So these people are all the assailants. Suddenly a man came down from another car. "You actually believe this thug's words, Yang Zaiju? Now you're not even sparing students." Just as Uncle Shu was about to answer, Jiang Zhixiong from behind called out, "Officer Jin." Officer Jin was surprised. "Isn't this Xiong? What are you doing here? My goodness, what happened to your face? Don't tell me you're the one these guys bullied?" After Jiang Zhixiong nodded, Officer Jin slapped the green-robed man on the head. "You kids dare to hit Zhixiong." Then he began to take all the assailants back to the police station. At this time, Uncle Shu called Bald Uncle to call Scarface Uncle, asking them to each bring a car. After receiving the call, Scarface Uncle rushed over in his Benz. "Young master, who did this to your face? I'll go take care of them." Jiang Zhixiong waved his hand, indicating that Scarface Uncle should take Song Zhongxi back first, then come back for him, telling him he still needed to wait for Li Yizhi and Xu Zhen. Just as Jiang Zhixiong was taking out his phone to call them, the two had just walked up from behind. Suddenly Han Shuzhen hugged Jiang Zhixiong. The next moment she put on a pitiful look saying, "Zhixiong, hold me, I'm shaking badly." Then she hugged Zhixiong tightly. "I was so scared just now. I really hate bad men now. Bad men are so scary." Li Yizhi was speechless hearing this. "I'm the one who's injured. Why is she crying?" At this time, Xu Zhen was still crying non-stop, asking Jiang Zhixiong to walk with her. Han Shuzhen thought Jiang Zhixiong would still cater to her every need like before, confidently looking at Li Yizhi, telling her she wanted to spend 10 minutes with Jiang Zhixiong. Suddenly Li Yizhi gave an evil smile. "But I'm not calm either. Let's walk together, you don't mind, right?" So, the three of them walked down an old street. At this time, Xu Zhen suddenly held Jiang Zhixiong's hand. Scene change. The two quietly sitting in a place they used to hang out, showing no regard for Li Yizhi's feelings, seeing the two laughing and talking. Actually, Li Yizhi had followed to get to know Jiang Zhixiong better. After all, she would be the woman behind him in the future. At this moment, Han Shuzhen kept trying to please Jiang Zhixiong. "Zhixiong, I didn't know your uncles were thugs. I thought they just looked scary." Jiang Zhixiong smiled awkwardly. "Is that so? They do look a bit scary." At this time, Han Shuzhen continued, "Zhixiong, I really hate my father and bad men like Shen Jingzhe now. I will never date bad men again. I want to be with kind people like you." These words made Jiang Zhixiong's eyes widen. The next moment Jiang Zhixiong's face darkened, and he was silent for a long time. "Shuzhen, I can't be a kind person anymore. I'm the heir to the Fire Bear gang. I once tried hard to change everything for you. I liked you for 10 years. It seems I've really changed. Xu Zhen slowly leaned on Zhang Zhixiong's shoulder, saying gently, if you have any difficulties, you can tell me. Zhixiong, isn't it just me? I will always be by your side. But the next moment, Zhang Zhixiong instantly thought of the people around him. The uncles who took care of him meticulously. Bald uncle, Uncle Xu, and his father's expectations. There was also Li Yizhi, Song Zhongxi, and other friends. At this moment, Zhang Zhixiong finally understood that now he had many people around him, and he was now the heir to the Fire Bear gang, not an ordinary gang. At this time, Han Shuzhen still hadn't noticed anything wrong with Zhang Zhixiong, continuing to say that after experiencing this incident, she finally realized that Zhang Zhixiong was a good man. Zhixiong, I like you. What do you think of me? Zhixiong, I finally gathered the courage to confess to you. Why aren't you answering? The next moment, Zhang Zhixiong stood up, telling her, we'll talk about this next time, surprising Han Shuzhen. Watching Zhang Zhixiong's retreating figure, she cried, Zhixiong, do you hate me? I'm sorry for dating Shen Jingjia. Zhixiong, I will treat you well. We've been close for 10 years. Being together in the future won't be a problem. Zhixiong, I like you. I will try hard, so please don't leave. You're not dating Li Yizhi, are you? I will treat you better than her. Suddenly Zhang Zhixiong stopped, turning to tell her, trying hard is really tiring. And so Han Shuzhen stood there watching Zhang Zhixiong leave, never expecting that Zhang Zhixiong would reject her. Zhang Zhixiong walked towards Li Yizhi, who was waiting, saying, let's go to the police station together. Li Yizhi happily rode her scooter and set off. At this time, two parents had arrived at the police station. They still had no idea who they had offended. Meanwhile, Shen Jingjie and his gang also began to stand up, thinking they could all leave. Seeing this, Uncle Xu immediately told them they were suspected of driving without a license. Hearing this, Officer Jin became angry, driving without a license. But suddenly a parent foolishly spoke up, saying Uncle Xu was speaking out of turn in the police station. If Uncle Xu hadn't stopped Bald Uncle, he would have almost killed him with a hammer. He even arrogantly asked Uncle Xu which gang he belonged to. Uncle Xu's eyes darkened. I'm Yang Zishu from the Fire Bear gang. What? Fire Bear gang? If you're from the Fire Bear gang, then this is easy to handle. Do you know Big Brother Zhang Hongwo? The next moment, Uncle Xu stopped wasting words with him, pulling up the sleeve on the man's arm to look. But the man's arm was clean. After being exposed, the man panicked completely. Uncle Xu asked if he wanted to go outside to talk. Trembling, he still didn't forget to say, You kid, what do you want to do? I advise you to behave, or I'll call our boss. The man was scared out of his wits. No need, I'll behave properly. At this time, the fierce madam heard something that seemed unfavorable to her son. So the two began to tell Officer Jin, call the victims out, we can apologize to them privately. Just then Zhang Zhixiong and the others arrived at the police station, all three answering in unison. We don't accept apologies and we don't want to talk privately. Group assault, special violence, intentional injury, and stealing vehicles and driving without a license. Upon hearing this, Shen Jingjie's gang immediately became uneasy. Meanwhile, the Fire Bear gang's exclusive lawyer Zhang also arrived at the scene. He stated that if what they said was true, then nothing more needed to be said, according to the 8th and 9th provisions. The 6 of them would face criminal charges for stealing vehicles and driving without a license. This made Officer Jin very happy, as he had been wondering what reason to use to deal with these punks. Bald Uncle also finally showed a satisfied smile. These kids' lives were over. Hey, where did you get the car? Who stole it and who was driving? At this moment, Shen Jingjie became anxious. If he sold out that uncle, he would be dead, as the uncle had instructed him that if they were caught, he should take all the blame. Over and over he recalled the uncle's words, if you dare to sell me out, even if I have to chase you to prison, I will kill you. Just then, yellow hair next to him told the police officer it was Shen Jingjie who did it. Suddenly, all his so-called brothers began pointing at him, thinking that since they were finished anyway, might as well confess early and get some money. It was me. I stole the car, and I was the one driving. But Uncle Xu could see at a glance he was lying. It must have been the thug the young master mentioned who had silenced him. Then Officer Jin also called the 3 of them over to give their statements. At this time, Uncle Xu quietly instructed him, young master, just tell the truth, don't say anything unnecessary. After all the instructions, the 2 walked out and waited again. Uncle Xu and Bald Uncle thought that even if other gangs knew about the young master's existence, they wouldn't act so quickly, although they didn't want to admit it. The enemy was probably within. Uncle Xu immediately called Scarface Uncle to gather all senior personnel and hold an emergency meeting. Then Uncle Xu and Bald Uncle discussed while waiting for their young master. Meanwhile at the police station, after Zhang Zhixiong and his 2 companions finished their statements, Officer Jin escorted them to the door to say goodbye. Seeing this, the uncles hurriedly bowed and said, young master, you must be tired from making your statement. At this time, Uncle Xu said that he would take Song Zhongxi back himself, saying he needed to ask him something, and told the young master and Li Yizhi to ride in Scarface Uncle's car. Then Uncle Xu and others left first. Scarface Uncle immediately opened the car door, asking the young master to sit in the front passenger seat. However, Spiky Uncle, who was nearby, became anxious upon hearing this. Brother Tycoon, are you trying to hinder the young master's romance? I'm going to tell Brother Chishang. After hearing this, Scarface uncle trembled and suddenly realized, the young master has grown up, I'm so short-sighted. Suddenly, both of them looked at the couple with sly smiles. Young master, you two sit in the back, feel free, pretend we don't exist, we're just scarecrows. At this moment, Li Yiji started imagining things again, thinking that the uncles wanted to match her with Xixiong, which was wonderful. In crucial moments, Spiky uncle really came through, giving Zhang Xixiong a perfect assist. Spiky uncle kept observing the couple's progress while driving. At this time, Zhang Xixiong asked Li Yiji if she wanted to ride his scooter back with him later. So the two uncles once again helped Zhang Xixiong by saying, young master, you two look very compatible. Zhang Xixiong covered his mouth shyly and told the uncles, don't be like that, just focus on driving. But Li Yiji was secretly delighted, thinking that the uncles were indeed trying to match them up. Suddenly Spiky uncle asked, Miss Yiji, what do you like about our young master? Scarface uncle was shocked, never expecting this old fellow to be so smooth. Hearing this, Zhang Xixiong was stunned, his mind going completely blank. The question also caught Li Yiji off guard, but she became even more convinced that the uncles were trying to match her with Xixiong. In the blink of an eye, they arrived where the scooter was parked. Before leaving, Spiky uncle didn't forget to help one more time. Young master, if you need the car anytime, just call me. I'll wait until you come back. Of course, if you don't come back, I'll explain it well to big brother. Young master, I'm leaving now. After Spiky uncle left with a rumble, the next moment Zhang Xixiong smiled awkwardly, saying the uncles were too unreliable, but Li Yiji didn't think so. Then the two got on the scooter, and after putting on their helmets, Li Yiji shyly asked Zhang Xixiong if he wanted to hold her waist. Zhang Xixiong also shyly wrapped his arms tightly around Li Yiji's waist. The next second, Li Yiji's face turned red and her heart raced. The blood in her body surged, causing blood to splatter from the wound on her forehead. Excited, she revved the scooter to 120 km/h, completely unaware that the wound on her forehead was still bleeding. However, after reaching Zhang Xixiong's home, Li Yiji temporarily stopped the bleeding. Meanwhile, Zhang Xixiong said he was relieved that stitches weren't needed. Otherwise, he would feel very guilty if Li Yiji's forehead was scarred. At this time, Li Yiji joked, Hey, I've been hit by stones before. Don't know who threw them, with quite some force. Suddenly, Zhang Xixiong became nervous. I'm really sorry about that incident. The next moment, Li Yiji laughed. Since you feel so sorry, then fulfill one wish for me. After getting an affirmative answer, Li Yiji seriously told him to kneel down and apologize. Zhang Xixiong didn't hesitate at all, asking if this was enough. Suddenly, Li Yiji was startled. Hey, I was joking. How could I possibly use my wish like this? Don't kneel. Hee, I was joking too. You bad girl, how could you use up your wish so easily? Upon hearing this, Li Yiji angrily gave him 2 punches. A moment later, the two sat on the steps and burst into laughter. Then Zhang Xixiong earnestly told her that he had learned a lot from her. Yiji, you may be a bit bad, but you also seem very kind. However, at this moment, Li Yiji fell into a romantic state, thinking that Zhang Xixiong was expressing his love for her. So she slowly moved her pink lips toward him. Unexpectedly, at the crucial moment, Zhang Xixiong messed up, asking if she was angry. Well, now Li Yiji was really angry. He had no sense at all. Indeed, Xixiong was a born single king. Just then, a little girl hit Li Yiji's knee. Li Yiji thought she had kicked something, looked down. Yes, the little girl was Duan. Duan directly scolded Li Yiji. You dare to scold my brother who is kind but weak. You are a devil sister who looks beautiful but is very bad. Seeing this, Song Zhengxi, who was limping, was also very helpless. Duan was crying and making a fuss about wanting to see Zhang Xixiong. Then Duan pulled Song Zhengxi's arm. Brother, quickly call that sister, hit her. The next moment Li Yiji jumped on the scooter and sped away. Zhang Xixiong was stunned, he was confused. Damn, she just left like that. At this time, Duan pulled Zhang Xixiong's arm. Brother, are you okay? Being scolded and beaten? Can't you even beat her? Zhang Xixiong crouched down and told Duan, Brother is fine, don't worry. But Duan looked at the wounds on Xixiong's face with concern. Suddenly, Duan hugged Zhang Xixiong's leg and burst into tears. Her biological brother said he never got such treatment, even though Duan had insisted on coming. But I also have something to tell you. It's about the ignorant normal alliance. While Zhang Xixiong was discussing with Song Zhengxi, meanwhile Bald Uncle saw Li Yiji speed away. Bald Uncle was very anxious, wondering why the young master would let Miss Yiji leave like that. So the three uncles began to discuss how to make a dating plan for the young master. At this time, Spiky Uncle said that Song Zhengxi seemed to have something to tell the young master, asking Bald Uncle if he wanted to play with his sister first. Bald Uncle nodded, telling them he would go make some food. Just then, when Scarface Uncle was about to say something, Bald Uncle looked at them suspiciously, asking if they had ever played with children before. The next moment, the two uncles immediately showed cunning and treacherous expressions. Angered, Bald Uncle slapped them both, telling them to stay aside, saying he would go get her. Then Bald Uncle, wearing a pink apron, asked Duan, Little one, would you like to play a cooking game with Uncle? However, Duan was scared by Bald Uncle, her eyes welling with tears. She grabbed her brother's leg. Even Jiang Zixiang looked extremely frustrated. At this time, Jiang Zixiang told him that Duan liked bears, asking if there were any stuffed animals at home. Suddenly, something flashed in Bald Uncle's mind. He threw aside his apron, tightly grabbed his clothes, with several cracking sounds. He directly tore open his shirt, revealing a full back tattoo. Scarface Uncle and Spiky Uncle upstairs were stunned, both certain this would scare Duan. Meanwhile, Jiang Zixiang and Song Zhongxi were also confused. However, Duan found it very cute when she saw it. Scarface Uncle and Spiky Uncle simply couldn't believe what they were seeing. Duan immediately ran over and touched it. This little bear looks so real. Suddenly Bald Uncle gave an evil smile. Little one, do you want to cook with Bear Uncle? Duan immediately answered Bald Uncle. Yes. After Duan said goodbye and left, Song Zhongxi told him, now my thoughts have changed. Even if we do nothing, those guys will come after us first. Rather than waiting passively, we might as well take the initiative. Hearing this, Jiang Zixiang had a sudden realization. So you want to fight them with me? Then the two formed a grip strength duo. Meanwhile, the other two were looking at the freshly made bear cookies. The next moment, they happily started dancing. Just then, Uncle Shu saw this scene. Suddenly, Uncle Shu with a dark face asked him what he was doing shirtless in front of a child. Just as Bald Uncle was alarmed and trying to explain something, Uncle Shu directly rolled up his fist, thinking Bald Uncle was bullying the child. Big Brother is indeed Big Brother. Regardless of right or wrong, he directly ordered Bald Uncle to stand with his hands behind his back. Fortunately, Duan hugged Uncle Shu's leg, making him very puzzled. He said he would take Duan home after teaching this shameless uncle a lesson. Bald Uncle hurriedly explained, Big Brother, this little one is Song Zhongxi's sister. Oh, so she's the young master's friend, Song Zhongxi's sister. Then he picked up a bear cookie from the table, gave it to Duan, saying sorry for ruining the atmosphere. Have a cookie, don't be angry. Duan also obediently accepted the cookie, telling Uncle Shu not to hit Bear Uncle. At this time, Bald Uncle asked Duan, why am I uncle and Shu his brother? Duan pointed at them, Uncle, Bear Uncle. Suddenly Duan asked Uncle Shu with a smile if he had a little bear on his back. Then the three began dancing again. Suddenly Uncle Shu sighed, I remember we used to dance with the young master many times before. However, the two who just returned were stunned. Uncles, what are you doing? Uncle Shu and Bald Uncle looked back with slight embarrassment. Hee young master, you're back. Ha ha ha. It's been a long time since the young master danced. Let's dance together. Duan loves it. At this time, Song Zhongxi asked, do I have to dance too? Hee, of course. Do you want to make Duan unhappy? So, with her power, Duan successfully persuaded two brothers and two uncles to dance awkwardly with her. 3 hours later, the two uncles, panting heavily, said, if the young master is happy, we're happy. However, Song Zhongxi sighed, oh my, what did I just do? Meanwhile, Jiang Zixiang stood up and told them he would take Duan home first. At this time, Uncle Shu stopped Song Zhongxi, telling him to come back after sending Duan home, saying they needed to have a meeting about the young master's matter. After Song Zhongxi calmed his sister down, several people began discussing in the conference room about the thug who attacked Jiang Zixiang. Young master, the thug who attacked you might be someone from our gang. Hearing this, Jiang Zixiang looked horrified. Suddenly, with a bang, Bald Uncle was very excited. Young master, think carefully about his appearance and clothes, any distinguishing features? At this time, Scarface Uncle told him to calm down. Banging the table and shouting won't help Brother Zhixiang. After thinking for a moment, Jiang Zixiang and Song Zhongxi told the uncles that the thug had a very large scar on his face. A large scar on his face? My goodness, Tycoon, was it you? Damn it, Brother Zhixiang, that's too far-fetched. If we're talking like that, you and Big Brother also have scars. Uncle Shu immediately said, mine doesn't count as a very large scar, right? Bald Uncle also added, mine can only be considered a cute scar, right? The next moment, Jiang Zixiang stood up abruptly. How could I not recognize Uncle Tycoon? It's not that kind of scar, it's on the cheek. Suddenly, the three uncles' eyes sank simultaneously, as if they all thought of the same person, suddenly making Bald Uncle very sad. Never thought the person who attacked the young master was someone from within the Firebear gang. Scarface Uncle also angrily said, Big Brother, it must be someone from Brother Shiwan's side. Shall we go settle scores with them? Suddenly with a bang, Uncle Shu said not to mention this matter anymore. It's still uncertain, so don't talk as if it's true. And don't say things you can't be responsible for. Understood? Scarface Uncle and Bald Uncle stood up and bowed. Sorry, Big Brother. We were too emotional. We'll listen to you. Then Uncle Shu said that's enough about the person who attacked the young master. Meanwhile, he asked Bald Uncle to explain to the young master about the Ignorant Normal Alliance. Bald Uncle told them about the origin of the Ignorant Normal Alliance. These 4 schools were previously in opposition and often had fights. Later, a legendary fight king united the 4 schools, making the two listen with great interest. This legendary fight king and the first leader of Ignorant Normal was me, Jin Zhixiang. Upon hearing this, both were very shocked. So the Ignorant Normal Alliance was created by you, Uncle? Bald Uncle nodded, continuing to tell them that the original name was not Ignorant Normal Alliance. Hearing this, the two became even more curious. The next moment, Bald Uncle immediately called Li Dubuo. Meanwhile, Li Dubuo was watching a show, complaining about being hungry. Complaining, why hasn't Li Yiji, that stinky girl, come back yet? Just then, Li Yiji arrived home, but Li Yiji seemed to be in low spirits. With a bang, she directly slammed the door and went into her room. Li Dubuo thought his sister was having one of her moods again. Her bad temper. Suddenly the phone on the sofa rang. Looking closely, it was from brother Qishan, making Li Dubuo feel a bit flattered, wondering why brother Qishan would call him so late. Bald uncle instructed him to tell Jiang Zhixiong everything about the ignorant normal alliance. The next moment Li Dubuo smiled, thinking this was a good opportunity. Meanwhile, Li Yiji, who had just returned to her room, kept replaying her scenes with Jiang Zhixiong, making her feel very shy, wondering why that stinky Jiang Zhixiong hasn't contacted her yet. Just as she was about to send a message, suddenly the door banged open, startling her. Behind her, Li Dubuo said, "Li Yiji, do you want to be with Jiang Zhixiong?" Li Yiji turned and yelled at him, calling him crazy, and asking how he knew, damn it. Li Dubuo laughed. "The news has spread already, but let's not talk about that. Give me paper and pen first." Li Yiji directly threw a pillow at him, hitting him in the face. The next moment Li Dubuo told her to calm down, saying he had received orders to explain the situation of the ignorant normal alliance to Jiang Zhixiong, so he'd have to stay by Jiang Zhixiong's side, if you also know about these situations. After thinking for a moment, Li Yiji made a 360-degree turn. "Then I can stay with Jiang Zhixiong all the time," giving him one-on-one explanations. "Exactly, that's it. No wonder you're my sister, your brain works so fast on these useless things." The next moment Li Yiji showed a fanatic expression again, saying paper and pen were already prepared, telling Li Dubuo to quickly tell her everything about the ignorant normal alliance. "Hee, but your brother is hungry now, no energy to teach you. Go make me some instant noodles first." With a whoosh, Li Yiji flashed like lightning and ran out. Hey, simple-minded girl, thinking that if Li Yiji and Jiang Zhixiong dated successfully and got married, the next moment Li Dubuo imagined limitlessly, then I'd be the brother-in-law of the Firebear Gang's boss. Wouldn't my days in the gang be smooth sailing? Ha ha ha. I'm such a genius, I'll make my sister the lady boss of the Firebear Gang. Watch how I create the boss lady plan. Meanwhile, on the other side, Bald Uncle had just finished explaining the situation of the ignorant normal alliance, and also told them about his past. In the past, when Bald Uncle was fighting everywhere, he met a man who changed his life. Yes, it was Uncle Shu, after which Bald Uncle followed Uncle Shu and joined the Firebear Gang. Jiang Zhixiong was stunned to hear this. "Uncle, that was something you established with great difficulty and I said I wanted to disband it. I'm sorry, Uncle." At this time, Bald Uncle told him with tears in his eyes that it was okay. "Young master, if the alliance I created can become a sacrifice to help you grow, it's my honor." Seeing this, Uncle Shu said, "That's enough for today," instructing Spiky Uncle to first send the young master back to his room, then take Song Jiangxi home. After the three left, Uncle Shu immediately became serious, telling the two that he had a good guess about who attacked the young master, but if they continued to pursue it, the situation might be more serious than they imagined. If a confrontation was inevitable, they should strike first. Then Uncle Shu began to call the person he thought of. Meanwhile, at the Firebear Gang's central distribution, Li Xiuan was beating a subordinate for incompetence. With a thud, the subordinate behind him trembled in fear. Seeing this, Li Xiuan asked, "Hey, why are you shaking like that, scared?" Hearing this, the subordinate behind him completely panicked. It was his fault, but his big brother was taking all the responsibility. Watching his big brother being beaten by the boss, just as he staggered to his feet, he bowed and shouted loudly, "Sorry, boss." However, Li Xiuan still gave him a heavy blow. "Hey kid, do you know why you messed up but he's the one getting beaten?" The subordinate tremblingly replied, "Because when a little brother makes a mistake, the big brother takes responsibility. Sorry, big brother." After Li Xiuan exhaled a puff of smoke, he told him to leave first, saying he needed to deal with the aftermath. The scene changes. The subordinate threw all evidence into the sea. Li Xiuan, looking at the endless sea, said, "The aftermath has been taken care of. I wonder what their reaction will be." Suddenly the phone in his pocket buzzed. "Hello, why are you calling me?" Uncle Shu asked if he had time tomorrow. "Time? Aren't you the one with no time? Aren't you busy taking care of the young master?" At this time, Uncle Shu heard seagull sounds from the other end of the phone. Thinking it was indeed Li Xiuan, it seems he was a step too late. Has he already dealt with it? Li Xiuan didn't say much more, saying he had something to do and hung up. Uncle Shu was so angry he almost crushed his phone. Damn it, if they've already dealt with it, even if I turn Li Xiuan's place upside down, I won't find this person. They've outmaneuvered us, but I can't directly go fight them now. For now I can only observe the situation further. The next morning, Uncle Shu held another meeting, telling the subordinates that the young master was attacked by unidentified individuals, and such a thing absolutely cannot happen a second time, and instructed Scarface Uncle, Bald Uncle, and Spiky Uncle to follow the young master from now on. Jiang Zhixiong felt strange when he woke up early, asked Uncle Shu where the other uncles were. Uncle Shu said he sent them for morning exercise. After learning the reason, Jiang Zhixiong told him he was leaving first. When he went out breathing fresh air, he kept feeling he was a bad person. Then, walking with a manly stride, he swaggered off to school, not forgetting to spit. Meanwhile, the three uncles also closely followed Jiang Zhixiong. This silly boy still hasn't learned how to spit properly. Just at this moment, Jiang Zhixiong saw a familiar figure. After greeting each other, they walked together to school. chatting, and laughing, making the three uncles sigh again. People say that even if you have just one true friend in life, it's considered successful. Suddenly Zhang Jixong and Song Zhongxi heard a familiar voice and looked in that direction. Li Yiji, showing off her S-shaped figure, greeted them. "Morning, Jixong." Seeing their young master so close with Li Yiji, the three uncles were very pleased. Our young master not only has a true friend but also a girlfriend. Meanwhile, Zhang Jixong also met classmate Zhang Yun. After that, what started as one person gradually expanded to four. When Zhang Jixong and Zhang Yun were chatting enthusiastically, Zhang Yun accidentally bumped shoulders with a jerk. The jerk immediately glared at Zhang Yun. "Hey kid, not watching where you're walking, you wanna die?" Upon hearing this, all four turned to look at him. At this time, Li Yiji told Zhang Jixong, "He's a member of Ignorant Normal. I think his name is Li Yuanyuan." The jerk heard this and got upset. "Not Yuanyuan, it's Yuanyi." The jerk had no idea that he was about to face Zhang Jixong's wrath. Suddenly, Zhang Jixong extended his hand with a smile, saying he was very glad to meet him. This move confused the jerk. "So you're Zhang Jixong. I came to tell you something. You know Pu Mingjun from Changnan School, right? He has something to tell you. Come with me." Zhang Jixong said, "Okay. But aren't you going to shake my hand?" Then the jerk extended his hand, also expressing pleasure in meeting Zhang Jixong. The moment they gripped, Zhang Jixong smiled lightly. Li Yuanyi, seeing Zhang Jixong holding his hand and smiling so eerily, felt very uncomfortable. The next moment Zhang Jixong's eyes sank, instantly gripping his hand tightly, asking him why he came instead of Pu Mingjun if Pu Mingjun had something to say. Meanwhile, Li Yiji and the other two whistled, pretending not to hear or see. Then Zhang Jixong didn't ask further, just told him to have Pu Mingjun come talk to him personally. Then came several cracking sounds. Li Yuanyi was in so much pain that saliva sprayed from his mouth. "And go back and tell the Ignorant Normal people, if they dare to hang around our school gate, I'll deal with everyone I see." At this point, Li Yuanyi seemed to painfully tell Zhang Jixong to go talk to Pu Mingjun himself, but was met with another crushing grip from Zhang Jixong, followed by a scream of pain. However, Zhang Jixong instinctively felt that Li Yuanyi had a point, told him to take him there. But Li Yuanyi, looking at Zhang Jixong's nasty face, was filled with hatred. Just then, when Zhang Jixong reached out to help him up, Li Yuanyi thought Zhang Jixong was going to torture him again, immediately said he would take him, begging Zhang Jixong not to grab him. Then he told Li Yiji and the others, "You heard, right? I'm going to Changnan School." Seeing this, Li Yiji absolutely disagreed with Zhang Jixong going alone, telling him if he wanted to go, to take Song Zhongxi with him. At this time, classmate Zhang Yun told them to calm down, suggesting they give him their phone number first. The three suddenly realized. Li Yiji tapped his arm and praised, "I didn't expect you to be so smart." However, just as everyone was happily chatting, Li Yuanyi on the side seemed to have thought of something, thinking he should run away quickly. Zhang Jixong suddenly shouted for Li Yuanyi to stop, but at this moment, Li Yuanyi just wanted to escape quickly. Zhang Jixong hurriedly chased after him. "Hey kid, I told you to wait, I haven't given you my phone number yet." Li Yuanyi ran away as fast as he could, finally understanding what a real scumbag was. But Zhang Jixong wouldn't let him go so easily, also chasing closely behind. Chased him all the way to an alley, where he saw three people trying to surround Zhang Jixong. Seeing this, Li Yuanyi felt very relieved. Thankfully, his two brothers were still there. However, the two brothers were collecting protection fees, asking Li Yuanyi why his hand looked like an octopus. Li Yuanyi anxiously said, "That Zhang Jixong guy is a maniac. Tell them to quickly call Pu Mingjun." Meanwhile, Shangju saw Zhang Jixong and thought he came to rescue him, excitedly calling Zhang Jixong to quickly deal with them. Zhang Jixong didn't waste words. Regardless of what happened before, he told Shangju to leave first. Seeing this, Shangju became very smug. "Ha ha ha, you bastards better get out of my way. My friend is Zhang Jixong." Then the blonde guy prepared for a fight. Meanwhile, Zhang Jixong also adopted a fighting stance, while Shangju behind him kept shouting for Zhang Jixong to finish them. Suddenly with a whoosh, the blonde guy said he could make Zhang Jixong fall to the ground in 3 seconds. The moment he swung his fist, he didn't expect Zhang Jixong to dodge it. Zhang Jixong gritted his teeth, slowly charging power in his right hand. With a smack, an uppercut hit him hard on the chin. The blonde guy was hit so hard his eyes went white. Seeing this, the two brothers began trembling. "Damn, what's going on? Wasn't he supposed to be useless?" Shangju, hiding in the shadows, was delighted. "He serves you right, you bastards." At the same time, Li Yiji and the other two had just arrived at the alley. Shangju turned and told them that Jixong currently had the upper hand. Hearing this, Li Yiji almost wanted to pin him down and rub his face on the ground. Hiding is one thing, but you're still grinning stupidly here. On the other side, the blonde guy had just spat out blood and staggered to his feet, saying, he didn't get hit because he failed to dodge. "Brothers, let's go together." "Hee hee, all three of you come at once. I still need to go to school." Outside, Song Zhongxi, watching the 3-on-1, felt it was very unfair. So he handed his bag to classmate Zhang Yun, slowly walked into the alley, telling Zhang Jixong to finish quickly. But the blonde guy and his group, seeing Song Zhongxi, were startled. At this time, two of them said, "Hey, bringing Song Zhongxi is cheating. We transferred schools just to avoid Song Jongshi. At this moment, the black-haired man prayed for Pu Mingjun to come quickly. The blonde guy was no exception, thinking that before fighting, they must delay time until Pu Mingjun arrived. Just then, Li Yiji didn't want to wait for them anymore, wanting to call her brother to come deal with them. A rumbling sound came from the street. Yes, it was Pu Mingjun from the Ignorant Normal Alliance. After stopping his bike, he coolly took off his helmet and said, "I wondered why they didn't come back or answer their phones. Turns out something interesting happened. I just asked them to pass a message. Why did you start fighting? Jiang Jixiong, Song Jongshi, let's talk." Seeing Pu Mingjun, the three subordinates thought Jiang Jixiong and Song Jongshi were doomed. However, Jiang Jixiong and Song Jongshi just glanced at him. Meanwhile, the two classmates who saw Pu Mingjun looking so composed were sweating, wondering how formidable he was. And Pu Mingjun, suffering from extreme social confidence, thought he had them under control. He went up and greeted Li Yiji but was glared at. He still asked Jiang Jixiong and Song Jongshi with a smile if they could greet him cordially, but was glared at fiercely by Song Jongshi, who told him to say whatever he had to say here. Pu Mingjun very confidently said he wasn't here to fight. He had something to say, so please release his friends first. Hearing this, the three subordinates were shocked, never expecting their boss to lower his head. At this time, Jiang Jixiong immediately told him it was fine if he finished dealing with them first. Li Yiji was even moved by Jiang Jixiong's words. Just as Pu Mingjun was saying he didn't send them to fight, Jiang Jixiong wanted to go up and beat him. Fortunately, the strategist Song Jongshi stopped him, telling Jixiong to wait and hear what he had to say. Then Pu Mingjun asked everyone except Jiang Jixiong and Song Jongshi to step back, saying he had something important to say. Hearing this, Li Yiji and the other two wanted to go up and beat him. Meanwhile, Pu Mingjun's three subordinates all said they wouldn't leave. "Boss, if we leave, you'll be 2 against 1. Pu Mingjun frowned. "I called you to pass a message, not to fight. You're only hindering me by staying here. Quickly go back to school." Then the three subordinates left first. Meanwhile, after Li Yiji and the other two had just left, Zheng Yun worriedly asked the two, "Will Jiang Jixiong be alright? Should we go back and check?" At this time, Shangju replied, "Jiang Jixiong is the son of the Fire Bear Gang boss, told them not to worry at all." Li Yiji was very annoyed hearing this. "Hey you useless guy, you've been mumbling since the beginning, it's so annoying. Shangju, why do you only talk about me? Do you think I'm easy to bully? Li Yiji, do you think you could beat me in a one-on-one fight?" Upon hearing this, Li Yiji was instantly so angry that all the arteries in her body burst open. "Shangju, I'm going to beat you to death today." Meanwhile, the three people on the other side, Pu Mingjun got straight to the point and said he wanted to team up with Jiang Jixiong and Song Jongshi. The two looked at him suspiciously, asking why he would betray the Ignorant Normal Alliance and what he would gain from teaming up with them. But Song Jongshi thought carefully that teaming up with Pu Mingjun would help in dealing with the remaining 2 schools. At this point, Pu Mingjun told the two that if they agreed to team up with him, he would tell them. Song Jongshi replied that they needed some time to consider. Then Pu Mingjun left first, telling them to get back to him as soon as possible. The next moment, Jiang Jixiong asked, "Song Jongshi, how could you decide so casually? I intend to deal with all of them." Song Jongshi replied, "To deal with them faster and more easily, we need to consider what conditions are favorable to us." Before leaving, Pu Mingjun reminded Jiang Jixiong to stay calm, saying, "How will you deal with the Ignorant Normal Alliance if you get agitated so easily?" This made Jiang Jixiong very angry, immediately declaring that he would still beat up Pu Mingjun. "Even if I team up with you, I will definitely beat you up." Pu Mingjun told him that if they teamed up, he wouldn't mind being beaten up. After saying this, Pu Mingjun ran away, making Jiang Jixiong extremely frustrated. "Zhongxi, I don't like that guy. Why should we team up with someone like him?" Song Jongshi said, "Let's go to school first, I'll explain on the way. Pu Mingjun will definitely be useful." As the two walked and chatted, Jiang Jixiong asked Zhongxi, "Anyway, can I beat him up in the end?" Song Zhongxi replied, "Yes, you can beat him up." And so the two chatted all the way to school, where the atmosphere was very different from before. In the originally noisy corridor, as soon as they appeared, all the students began to avoid them, and the atmosphere instantly became very quiet. After the students left, they found the latest notice posted on the blackboard. They were shocked to see information about Shen Jingzhe and his gang's punishment. Jiang Jixiong hadn't expected things to be resolved faster than they had imagined. While Shen Jingzhe's gang was being punished, rumors about the two of them quickly spread throughout the school. "Have you heard that Jiang Jixiong is now our school's boss? Of course, he's the young master of the Fire Bear gang." As soon as the two entered the classroom, they heard all the students discussing them. And so Jiang Jixiong confusedly became the boss of the second-year students at Jilin School. This rumor quickly spread to farther places. The bosses of the 4 schools also learned about Jiang Jixiong's intention to deal with the Ignorant Normal Alliance. The rumor spread and spread until it reached places Jiang Jixiong didn't want it to reach. Although Shen Jingzhe's gang was gone, the classroom atmosphere was still as cold as before. Song Jongshi told him, "You probably expected this, right? For them, it's just changing from one object of fear and disgust to another." "What? I become an object of fear and disgust? It's not easy to ruin your kind Jixiong image in such a short time. But isn't this what you were hoping for? Whether you become an object of fear and disgust depends on what you do from now on. Anyway, I'm used to it." But Jiang Jixiong recalled that Song Jongshi didn't seem to have bullied anyone, though he had always had that image. image. Just as Zhang Zhixiang was lost in thought, Li Yiji pulled his arm, telling him to sit down quickly instead of standing, saying she had something to tell him. Suddenly Zhang Zhixiang was confused, wondering why Yiji was sitting there. The moment Zhang Yun waved to him, he understood. At this point, Li Yiji told him, Li Dubo asked me to tell you about the ignorant normal alliance. This. If you sit next to me and talk to me all the time, I'll definitely learn quickly. Just as Zhang Zhixiang pulled out the chair, Li Yiji immediately took out the ignorant normal death note. Zhixiang, let's start with Pu Mingjun from Changnan School. She guided him through each person's characteristics, starting with Pu Mingjun's gang from Changnan School. The first was Changnan School's second-in-command, Jin Zhonghui, known as a mad dog of a man. Next was the leader. His build was about the same level as Song Zhongshi's, self-proclaimed as Changnan's hero. Hearing the word hero, Zhang Zhixiang thought he had read too many comics. At this point, Li Yiji continued to tell him to be especially careful of Pu Mingjun, because Pu Mingjun had taken over the third-year students before the end of his first year's first semester. Also, Pu Mingjun had learned Taekwondo and had a rank. He mainly specialized in kicking techniques. This person should be quite difficult for you to deal with, so I've specially prepared methods for you to counter kicking techniques. Just as the two were deeply engaged in conversation, the two students sitting nearby couldn't stand it anymore, grinding their teeth with envy. Shangju was inwardly cursing Li Yiji. So disgusting. Actually still entangling my friend Zhang Zhixiang. After everything was explained, Zhang Zhixiang told her that he seemed to know which guy to start dealing with. Li Yiji was very gratified that she could help him. From today on, I'm your teacher. To celebrate, let's go eat stir-fried rice cakes. Zhang Zhixiang also patted his chest, insisting that he must treat her. Then the two happily continued to study the characteristics of other school bosses. Suddenly the classroom door clicked. Han Shuzhen appeared, making Zhang Zhixiang very surprised. Meanwhile, Han Shuzhen also looked in his direction, but what she saw was Li Yiji's slight smile. At this moment she regretted it, as if she had truly lost Zhang Zhixiang. Just then she turned to leave, seemingly thinking of something. She whispered into a classmate's ear. At the same time, the teacher had just walked in, asking them to return to their seats. Han Shuzhen bumped into the teacher's shoulder and walked out, leaving the teacher very confused. Suddenly Zhang Zhixiang stood up abruptly, calling out Han Shuzhen's name. Then with a dark expression, he opened the door and chased after her. Just as Zhang Zhixiang was about to call her, Han Shuzhen suddenly stopped, as if guessing he would chase after her. She turned around and pitifully asked, "How miserable do you want me to become?" After saying this, she turned and left. Could this be the legendary playing hard to get? As she walked, she said, "Zhixiang has really turned bad. You said there was only me, you liar?" Then Zhang Zhixiang returned to the classroom with a heavy face, completely ignoring what Li Yiji was saying, thinking that he had wanted to become a bad guy for Han Shuzhen to like him. "But now you call me a liar. I became bad completely for Shuzhen, but from now on, it's not for Shuzhen anymore." Women. Suddenly the school bell rang. At this point, Li Yiji asked, "Zhixiang, if you're feeling sad, we don't have to go eat rice cakes today." Zhang Zhixiang nervously told her he was fine. "Let's go eat now." Li Yiji didn't ask further, thinking that occasionally eating something spicy to release pressure was a good method. Suddenly Zhang Zhixiang stood up abruptly and shouted, "Buddies, let's all go eat stir-fried rice cakes. My treat today." Hearing this, Li Yiji was stunned, initially thinking Zhang Zhixiang had only invited her. The two useless classmates also chimed in. "Since our friend Zhixiang is asking us to eat, we must go." Song Zhongxi said, "You guys, can't you read the room?" At this point, Zhong Yun also seemed to realize something, thinking that maybe they shouldn't go. Suddenly Song Zhongxi and Zhong Yun looked at Li Yiji. Li Yiji maintained her composure and said, "Why are you looking at me? Let's all go eat, ha ha ha." The scene shifts. Song Zhongxi and the four at one table, Zhang Zhixiang and Li Yiji at another table chatting about interesting things. Suddenly Zhang Zhixiang's phone rang. He opened it to see that Uncle Shu was calling him to come back early. After eating, everyone said goodbye at the door. At this point, Li Yiji said her stomach was full too. "Let's continue studying." Zhang Zhixiang scratched his head and told her he had to go home. His uncle wanted him to come home early today. The next moment, Li Yiji suddenly fell into a pit, thinking she could spend some time alone with Zhang Zhixiang. She kept telling herself to hold on, that haste makes waste. Suddenly Zhang Zhixiang said, "Yiji, I'll go home first, I'll call you tonight." At this moment Li Yiji felt like happiness had suddenly arrived. This Zhixiang, are we meeting tonight? Where? Seeing her like this, Zhang Zhixiang scratched his head and said, "If it's not convenient, we can find a quiet study room." The next moment, Li Yiji immediately said that wasn't necessary. "Our home environment is similar to a study room. You can even meditate at our house without problems." Zhang Zhixiang replied with a mischievous smile, "Alright, then I'll call you tonight." Afterward, the two said goodbye and mentioned they would see each other later. The next second, Li Yiji began to show a fangirl-like appearance, tapping on her phone, sending who knows what. Meanwhile, on the other side, Li Dubo and Daxian were discussing Shen Jingji's expulsion. At this point, Daxian said the others would probably also be suspended or arranged to do community service. "I don't know what you're thinking. Now that Shen Jingji's gang has been dealt with, what do you plan to do next? Li Dubo said he wanted to support Jiang Zhixiong, thinking that supporting Jiang Zhixiong was also supporting his future brother-in-law. Hearing this, Daxine replied that he also approved of supporting Jiang Zhixiong. Then Li Dubo told him with a grin that he was going to create a sister-in-law plan, making Daxine very confused. What do you mean by creating a sister-in-law plan? Suddenly Li Dubo's phone buzzed. Oh, speak of the devil. How did this girl know I was talking about her? Looking closer, it clearly showed a message from Li Yiji, telling him to come back later, threatening that if he came back early, he would be dead. Seeing this, Li Dubo became angry. This dead girl, if it weren't for the sister-in-law plan, I wouldn't care if she was my sister or who she was. I would have beaten her up long ago. Meanwhile, Jiang Zhixiong had just arrived home when he saw a car at the door. He thought his father had come, wondering what he was here for this time. As soon as he entered the living room, Jiang Zhixiong felt an uncomfortable silence. Whenever Father Jiang came, his house would become very quiet. Father Jiang saw him and immediately said, I hear my pride-worthy son Jiang Zhixiong not only took over the entire second year but also fought 1 against 7 truly rapid progress son. Jiang Zhixiong replied that it wasn't just him fighting. There was also a friend called Zhongxi who fought with him. Father Jiang told him that wasn't important. What mattered was that his son had finally taken to fighting, saying it was as if he saw himself when he was young. Is there anyone among our brothers who can fight 1 against 7 and win without a scratch like you? Uncle Shu and Uncle Shiwan both sighed. We were like that when we were young too. Scar Uncle and Bald Uncle were the same. All the underlings also said, we were like that when we were young too. Father Jiang took a deep drag on his cigarette and continued. Like father, like son. Worthy of being my son, Jiang Hong was his son. Son, father is really proud of you. You're finally showing filial piety, hehe. Then Father Jiang looked at Li Xiuan and instructed him to bring that gift over. Li Xiuan immediately handed it to Father Jiang. Here son, this is a gift from your father. Jiang Zhixiong took the gift and asked his father what it was. Father Jiang chuckled and told Jiang Zhixiong to open it quickly and see. Click click as he opened it. Jiang Zhixiong was stunned. He never imagined that Father Jiang would give him a dagger. The next moment, as he pulled it out of its sheath, Jiang Zhixiong was even more shocked. He clearly saw his own name engraved on the blade. Father Jiang shyly said, I commissioned the nation's best craftsman to make this knife 2 years ago. I'm very happy to be able to engrave my son's name on it. Suddenly Jiang Zhixiong was sweating profusely. Father, I don't think I'll need it. The next moment, click went the camera. Father Jiang told him not to move, instructing him to take the knife out again and place it next to his face. Then another click. Father Jiang played with his phone while saying, ha ha ha, I can finally use my son's photo as my profile picture. Nearby, Bald Uncle and Uncle Shu looked very gratified. Now the young master is truly on the right track. At this point, Bald Uncle quietly asked, now we can confirm that the young master is the heir, right? However, Li Xiuan next to him glared at them both angrily, thinking, Yang Zaiju, when I was out there struggling with dirty hands, you were here living the good life as the young master's babysitter. Just you wait. Suddenly Father Jiang continued, well, now father has only one expectation for you, that is to continue to progress. Surpass the 2nd year, the 3rd year. Set your sights on the whole country, even the whole world. Oh my god, the whole world? Alright father, I'll keep trying. Well, the congratulatory gift has been given to you, so I'll be leaving now. Yang Zaiju, I entrust my son to you from now on. Hearing this, Uncle Shu immediately said, boss, you needn't worry. Before leaving, Li Xiuan bumped Uncle Shu's shoulder hard, saying, get out of the way. Damn, Yang Zaishu, you're so happy now. Don't worry, I won't let you off easily. At this point, Li Xiuan bowed to Jiang Zhixiong and said, young master, I'll leave first. Take care of yourself. With a bang of the door, the underlings all shouted, boss, be careful on the way. After Father John left, Uncle Shu asked, young master, I just want to confirm. The person with a scar on his cheek, is it Li Xiuan? Jiang Zhixiong immediately replied, of course not. How could I not recognize Uncle Xiuan? That person's scar is on the other side. Meanwhile, as Father Jiang just sat in the car, he sighed again. That knife has finally been given to Zhixiong. I've been waiting for this day for so long. Now I can finally relax about the heir matter. At this point, Li Xiuan asked, boss, do you want to contact your other sons? After thinking for a while, Father Jiang told him, there's no need. Zhixiong still needs to continue growing. The killing intent in his eyes is not enough yet. Li Xiuan stammered in response. Alright boss, thinking that at this rate that guy Yang Zaiju will climb over my head. The previous plan to eliminate the young master failed. Although I don't dislike the young master, I can't watch Yang Zaiju have smooth sailing. Then he scrolled through his contacts. He sent a message to someone named Huang Daquang, telling him, about what I told you last time, start preparing. The next moment, Li Xiuan had an evil smile. I'm sorry young master, if you want to blame someone, blame that useless Yang Zaiju. Meanwhile, on the other side, Li Yiji was diligently cleaning her home's floor. Zhixiong is coming to my house. I can't let him see it dirty. Alright, I need to clean up quickly, then decorate my room a bit. Suddenly there was a knock 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 at the front door. With a bang, Li Dubo said, brother is back. Go make me a bowl of instant noodles. Li Yiji looked at him angrily. Damn, I told you not to come back. What kind of brother are you? Li Dubo was taking off his coat while saying, why should I leave just because you tell me to? hurry up and make me some instant noodles. The next moment, Li Yiji gave him international gesture. So annoying, Xiong said he's coming over soon, hurry up and get out of here. With these words, Li Dubo was stunned. What? He turned around and said, sister, what did you just say? I said Jigxiong is coming over, that's why I'm cleaning so hard. What instant noodles? I just cleaned all the bowls. Suddenly Li Dubo smiled. Sister, let me help you clean. Thinking this was the perfect moment for the sister-in-law plan. Just as Li Yiji was about to say something, with 2 swift moves, Li Dubo had already put on gloves. So brother-in-law, no, Zhang Jigxiong, when is he expected to come? Li Yiji told him he would contact her in about 2 hours. Li Dubo chuckled, 2 hours is plenty. Then Li Dubo began racing against time, working hard to clean the house. These wind-like efficient actions showed his skill. Li Dubo was truly giving his all for the sister-in-law plan. Meanwhile, Li Yiji was stunned by his actions. This. In an instant, the whole house was cleaned spotless by Li Dubo. Then Li Dubo sat on the sofa exhausted, looking dim and pale, but his mouth still showed a slight smile. Suddenly, Li Dubo jumped up, telling himself it wasn't time to rest. He needed to disappear quickly. But at this point, Li Yiji told him that Jigxiong hadn't contacted her yet, saying she would make noodles for her brother first. Suddenly, speak of the devil, Jigxiong called. While behind her, Li Dubo was still asking Li Yiji to cook the noodles a bit harder, but Li Yiji told him he could leave now. At this moment, Li Dubo put on a forced smile, gritting his teeth and telling himself to endure. Then Li Dubo walked out dejectedly, while Li Yiji was speaking gently on the phone with Zhang Jigxiong. Just as he reached the door, Li Dubo stopped and glanced at her, thinking, look at her voice when she's talking, but sister, I support you for my bright future, go for it. In the blink of an eye, Zhang Jigxiong also arrived at her door. The moment he pressed the doorbell, Li Yiji rushed out. Li Yiji asked him to rest in her room first, but Zhang Jigxiong said the desk here seemed a bit narrow. Why don't we go to the bed? It's more spacious. Suddenly Li Yiji began to stutter. What, Jigxiong? What are we doing on the bed? Seeing her like this, Zhang Jigxiong asked, is it too soft and uncomfortable? Then we can go to the living room. At this moment, Li Yiji started fantasizing again. Is our progress this fast? She immediately took out the Ignorant Normal Alliance's death note. Jigxiong, then let's start talking about our school's third-year students today. Let's lie down first. However, Zhang Jigxiong just sat on the floor, asking Li Yiji to start quickly. So we're not lying down to talk, but sitting there to talk, alright. At this moment, Li Yiji doubted if she had lost her charm, looking very disappointed. But she still began to explain to Jigxiong, first about Zhao and Hao, who ranked second in their school, and had his own small gang. Since you've taken over the second year, he'll definitely want to recruit you into a small gang. Also, I've been thinking, when you become the boss of Shilon School, do you want to start dealing with Magic Array School first? Magic Array School has the fewest students, and the boss there, Taoyuan Shao, is relatively the weakest. Zhang Jigxiong nodded, and said he would listen to her. Let's stop here for today. After seeing him to the door, she shyly asked if he wanted her to send him back on her little donkey. However, Zhang Jigxiong told her again, no need, I can go back by myself. This made Li Yiji want to punch him, but she still smiled and said, alright. Thinking she must hold back, Zhang Jigxiong is just a straight man. Li Yiji only now realized that Zhang Jigxiong was such a difficult man to deal with. At this point, Zhang Jigxiong was also pondering that tomorrow he needed to go to school to sort out the ranking issue. With Li Yiji's help, he had already figured out in his mind what to do next. Just as Zhang Jigxiong was saying he wanted to be filial to his father, Bald Uncle was already waiting at the door, but the reflection from Bald Uncle's head under the doorway light was so bright that Zhang Jigxiong could barely open his eyes. It must be said that social Bald Uncle standing at the doorway under the light, that reflection was truly dazzling. Zhang Jigxiong, who had sneaked out, panicked. Bald Uncle seriously said, young master, I should have told you, if you go out during this period, you need to tell us in advance. So Zhang Jigxiong explained that he went to find Li Yiji to learn about the Ignorant Normal Alliance. Hearing this, Bald Uncle asked him, young master, did you meet a girl wearing just these clothes? Making Zhang Jigxiong confused. Young master, next time when you go to meet a girl you must tell me in advance. It's too disrespectful to the other person with such attire. The next second, the two suddenly had a mischievous smile. Young master, I think you really need me to match clothes for you. Hearing the word match, Zhang Jigxiong's face tightened. Bald Uncle's matching was truly memorable to him. However, early the next morning, Zhang Jigxiong started carrying a small bag. This was definitely social Bald Uncle's matching. Meanwhile, all the underlings were already at the door shouting, young master, be careful on the way. After repeated tempering, Zhang Jigxiong finally became a charismatic man. On the other side of the basketball court, Zhao and Hao was shooting baskets. With a thud, two underlings applauded. And Hao, your swish shot is absolutely amazing. Yes, this person is Zhao and Hao, ranked second in Jilon School's third year. He was waiting for Zhang Jigxiong to arrive. However, Zhang Jigxiong was still on the road learning to spit. At the same time, this scene was just seen by the passing strategist. Song Jiangxi asked him how long he planned to walk like that. But at this point, Zhang Jigxiong felt a sense of achievement from spitting. Suddenly Song Jiangxi interrupted him. Jigxiong, you'd better look around first while you're busy spitting, our school students all. When Zhang Jigxiong looked back, the surrounding students were all discussing them. Gosh, why does this person keep spitting? So disgusting. Yeah, I heard they beat up Shen Jingji's gang. The next moment the two had expressionless faces. Jixong, how does it feel to become a bad guy? Suddenly Zhang Jixong laughed out loud. So that's it, my image is already bad enough. This is even better. Let's go, Zhengji. As the two were swaggering towards the classroom, suddenly a yellow-haired guy darted out from the side, telling the two that someone was looking for them, and pointed towards the basketball court. Then the grip duo went directly to the designated location. At this point, Zhao and Hao arrogantly said, Zhang Jixong, welcome to my territory. Damn, are you stupid? Our school doesn't have any your territory or my territory. At these words, the two underlings beside him angrily said they would finish off Zhang Jixong. Hey, you're too aggressive. I called you here originally to give you some advice, but you're so impolite. So I'll have to treat you impolitely too. Meanwhile, 5 guys outside the court were discussing which side to join. However, on the rooftop, Li Dubo and Daxian were also watching this good show. At this point, Li Dubo asked him, Daxian, do you think Zhang Jixong will follow Zhao Enhao? Daxian immediately said no, it's impossible. How could a tiger be a dog's underling? While on the other side, Zhao Enhao started provoking Zhang Jixong. I see you still haven't understood the situation. Just as Zhang Jixong and Song Zhongxi looked back, those 5 guys outside the court surrounded them. At this point, Zhang Jixong directly shouted at them, Hey, whoever dares to interfere, I'll beat that person. Zhao Enhao arrogantly said, Brothers, beat up that guy Zhang Jixong. However, the 5 guys completely ignored his orders. Zhao Enhao and the other 2 were shocked. What are you guys standing around for? Hurry up and beat that guy. The yellow-haired guy told him, Don't order us around, big brother. You move first. If you move first, we'll listen to you. This made Zhao Enhao so angry he almost broke his teeth. Then Zhang Jixong and Zhao Enhao both stepped forward to begin a one-on-one fight. Zhao Enhao quickly threw the basketball. Just as Zhang Jixong caught the basketball, Zhao Enhao suddenly jumped up. His fist locked onto Zhang Jixong. Bam! He hit Zhang Jixong hard in the face. The 2 underlings secretly rejoiced. In a basketball court fight, of course Enhao is the strongest. At this point, Zhao Enhao started dribbling the basketball again. Hey, how about it? Zhang Jixong, do you want to continue? Zhang Jixong didn't waste words with him. He rushed straight at him, thinking he must close the distance between them in a short time. But Zhao Enhao threw the basketball again. And once again, Zhang Jixong was hit. Zhao Enhao's hands were very quick. Zhang Jixong took another hard punch. At this moment, Zhao Enhao became even more pleased with himself. Zhang Jixong quickly stood up and wiped the blood from his nose. At this time, Zhao Enhao was very cocky, constantly taunting. Where did that arrogant Zhang Jixong go? The 2 underlings became even more convinced. Enhao started spinning the basketball, indicating this game was about to end. At this point, Zhao Enhao charged forward with the basketball, but Zhao Enhao ran in another direction, making Zhang Jixong very puzzled. Suddenly, with a shout of blind pass, the basketball was thrown at Zhang Jixong again, giving Zhang Jixong another hit. Layup hook punch. Zhang, how does this hit feel? Then Zhang Jixong kept retreating, but showed no sign of falling down. The next moment, he stopped retreating. Zhao Enhao, do you want to die standing or lying down? The next moment, Zhang Jixong used all his grip strength to crush the basketball. Seeing this, Zhao Enhao and the 3 others were immediately shocked. I can't believe this was crushed by Zhang Jixong. Even Song Zhongxi, seeing this scene, was covered in cold sweat. At this moment, Zhang Jixong was simply radiating dominance. A real man doesn't waste words. He approached Zhao Enhao with big steps. Suddenly, Zhang Jixong's eyes sank. Now it's my turn, You're dead. Zhao Enhao chickened out, immediately saying he surrendered. At this point, Zhao Enhao was thinking of sneaking in an attack, but he never imagined. Zhang Jixong put the basketball on his head. Zhang Jixong took a deep breath, raised his right fist, bam, and asked if his head was ringing. Just as Zhao Enhao was about to fall, he grabbed his head again and asked him, Zhao Enhao, what's in front of you? Answer me quickly, what do you see? Zhao Enhao mumbled in response that he saw complete darkness. Zhang Jixong told him, this is your future. The next moment, no matter how Zhao Enhao begged, what followed was Zhang Jixong's forceful clap with both hands, followed by a slap, then another 2 slaps, then 3 more slaps, then 4 more slaps, then directly high-speed dribbling. It must be said that when Jixong turned brutal, it was on an epic level. He beat him black and blue. Even his own mother wouldn't recognize him. The underlings watching were terrified, feeling fortunate they hadn't helped Zhao Enhao, otherwise their fate would be obvious. At just that moment, Zhao Enhao's right and left hand suddenly rushed out. Seeing this, Song Zhongxi blocked their way. Hey, what are you trying to do? Stay put. At this point, the fat yellow-haired guy was so angry, unable to fight Song Zhongxi, he could only watch helplessly as his boss was brutalized by Zhang Jixong. Suddenly, Zhang Jixong turned and asked them, who else wants to fight? This question nearly scared the life out of them. All 5 immediately declared, Brother Xiong, we're not fighting. Seeing this, Zhang Jixong picked up his small bag from the ground and told them, very good, your decision is correct. After all, we're from the same school, so I'll deal with you last. Just as the 2 were leaving, someone called out to them. The yellow-haired guy immediately bowed and said, Brother Xiong, I know you want to deal with the ignorant normal alliance. Let me help you and Song Zhongxi. At these words, everyone was thunderstruck. Damn, this guy didn't even discuss with us before joining Zhang Jixong. Seeing the situation had changed, the others also immediately bowed, saying, "Brother Xiong, we're also willing to follow you." At this point, Zhang Zhixiong asked for Song Zhongxi's opinion on whether to accept them. Song Zhongxi thought carefully that with just the two of them, it might indeed be difficult. After a brief discussion, the two decided to accept them.